No one gives a shit about Destiny's take here. No, like no one.
Nah, I don't buy into that one.
I think people. I saw a tweet by some leftist person, right? Some person had like a communist, it was like a Soviet Union thing, and their like profile pictures, so like a tinky. But they were like, they want us to eat bugs because they're not capitalism can't produce enough food or some shit like that. It's like climate change, we're not getting enough food. People eating bugs, all these, you see it sometimes. See on Vice News, people talking about bug flour and stuff, or what's it called, cricket flour. I disagree. I think that the aversion to bugs and the aversion to eating bugs, I think this is Western-centric nonsense, okay? Tons of other cultures eat bugs. Bugs are based, okay? The Aztecs, they according to the book, the Five Sons, what was it called? Dragonflies were a delicacy. They eat bugs in Cambodia. They eat spiders in Cambodia. They eat grubs in Vietnam. I think it's cool. I love shrimp. Cultures. We were just talking today about crawdads, squid, lobster, crab. Those are just yeah.
I used to eat bugs. I ate bugs as a kid until my parents saw me doing it, and they were like, "No, don't do that." But I was a healthy boy, and so yeah. And
that's a little weird. To eat any animal off the stick is a little weird, but I think it'd be cooked.
I just like I would see some ants and I'd be like, "Squish."
Like I've seen like Discovery Channel of people like traveling and seeing like the vendors with like fried crickets and like spiders on a stick, and I was like, I would try that if I was there because it looks yummy.
Yeah, I don't know about like the abdomen part, like about the bigger ones, because there's just guts and you can't really. It's too small to clean, but it's too big that it's not like inconsequential. Like you will be eating guts.
I kind of
yummy. Oh, God. It does not look yummy at all. It looks like it's.
I actually agree with you here, but here's my hypothesis. Okay, perhaps you come from a culture that is traditionally vegetarian, like many of the cultures in India. Okay, you don't eat a lot of meat, and let's say that I show you a picture of just a piece of chicken breast that I just put into the oven with nothing. It's just cooked chicken breast. That's going to look real nasty, right? And
then people who eat. Sorry.
Hold on. Okay, because that's not that most people who cook chicken are going to do things to it. They're going to like fry it. They're going to put like, they're going to do stuff to it to make it taste good. We have advanced and specialized ways of cooking meats and cooking vegetables that we have not developed in the Western cultures to eat bugs. And so our palates are not accustomed to them. But if I had a palate for Laotian food or a palate for Vietnamese food, not Vietnamese food as like the place down the street, but Vietnamese food as I was in Vietnam, then I think it'd be much more, we'd be much more accustomed to this. In fact, there are many people that look at us, many people who don't come from cultures that don't eat beef. People come from India and they see us eating cheeseburgers and they say, "I'm throwing up. Disgusting. I could never even have this. Disgusting."
Well, they don't eat beef in India because they think it's their like cousin Phil that died like a few months ago. That's why.
Racist. No, that's not racist. I'm sorry, that's racist.
You damn Americans, you're eating my Phil. No.
Not
yeah,
it's a little bit more.
You're gaslighting all the Indian men named Phil. All right.
Oh boy. Okay.
But on that note, I do have to get going.
Thank you for joining us previously. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. We'd love to have you again in the future. So stop by.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, but to be serious, I mean, I'm glad that I don't live in an environment of eating bugs. Maybe that sounds a bit bougie or whatnot, but I do think that there's a point to how we're able to eat grains, meat, or whatnot to the pleasure of going to the grocery store, and amount of how easy it is compared to living in a different country that is having to deal with that issue, and like eating bugs could be a delicacy. Yeah, like for sure. Like for me, I detest eating bugs, but there's certain things that I would find as a delicacy, like guinea pigs. Like no offense.
You would eat a guinea pig?
Okay,
you
eat a guinea pig?
It's grotesque.
In Peru, yes, they're delicacy in Peru.
I don't
But,
like that. Guinea pigs.
but-
are
They're not a
separate.
delicacy. They're just
I
like
love
a
them.
homegrown thing. Like they're like chickens, pretty much. They like they give the guinea pigs the scraps, and when they get fat enough, they eat them. Yeah,
Yeah,
Peru,
it's-
Ecuador, places
Cody,
like that.
I 100
But like I think the
1000%
reason
agree
that
with
you
you.
think that
And I
eating
keep-
bugs is gross is because
Hey,
you think
hey.
bugs are gross. But you know
I'm
what
in
bugs
Peru
don't
right
do?
now. There's no guinea
Fucking
pigs. I'll
bleed
do
and
those goddamn
scream for
guinea
their
pigs.
lives.
Yeah, I mean,
I would eat a bug if when it came down to the food sources that were around me were insects, then I'd fucking eat the insects. Just like we eat cows. We grow cows and we farm them and we eat them, right? So if we didn't have access to that, and the only thing we had access to were insects, like I don't know, like scorpions and crickets and all that stuff. Yeah, I'd eat that too. Like especially like a lot of people, if you get those insects and you grind them up into a powder, how do you know the difference between the protein powder that these muscle heads that go to a gym or ain't nothing but crickets and scorpions. You don't know the difference. It's protein. Protein's protein, right?
yeah, but I can guarantee you that if I go and like put on a plate and it has like a fried little piece of meat that has like a A1 sauce or whatnot to the liking, I could guarantee you that will be more tasteful than eating a piece of like
What
scorpion.
about Dan? What about like a cricket with like chocolate covering it?
No,
Like
oh,
a chocolate covered
no. No.
cricket.
No, that doesn't help
No.
at all. It doesn't mask the
Why
flavor
not?
of the cricket.
Ye-
It will
the
taste
flavor of the
terrible.
cricket's good.
No,
It
no,
tastes
no,
good.
Dan,
You've
you're
never
wrong.
had a chocolate
Dan,
covered
No,
you're
it
wrong.
cricket?
tastes so bad. I don't
No,
care.
no, Dan.
It
Dan, no,
tastes
that's
so
It tastes
bad.
good. It's
No,
like
if you-
grassy and nutty. It's
No,
lovely.
if you take a cricket and you fry a cricket, that cricket is going to be pretty mild taste. A cricket have a taste of canola oil or olive oil or whatever you fry.
No.
And then if you
You'd be
cover it in-
terrible because my
you cover-
God, the amount of thing that would feel in your mouth, that would feel terrible. My God.
No,
And that would
no.
take away from the taste.
It would
No,
feel
you're
like
you're so biased. Like
Would
you think
feel like
you,
a-
you think that meat is normal to eat, but
Hold on.
you think that eating a cow is like as
Look, it
as
is normal.
intuitive to a human as
It is
eating a
normal.
bug.
It
It
is.
is
That's
normal.
my argument.
It
No,
is.
stop. That's my
No,
argument.
it's more
Yes, it is
intuitive
as
to eat a
normal.
bug than to eat a cow. If
Wait,
you were
wait.
a baby
Now,
and
if
like you're
you're-
hungry, are you gonna try to kill a
no,
cow
no,
and like cook a
you're
steak,
small
or are you just
baby.
gonna eat a
No,
bug
no,
off
no,
the
no, no,
ground?
I'm
no.
not thinking
AJ.
about killing a cow. I'm not. Come on, bro.
Think about all of our
AJ.
ancestors. Do you think chimpanzees eat more like red meat or like bugs and stuff? And like,
Oh,
maybe, like,
chimpanzees eat each other. Are you kidding?
Eat each other.
I have seen a video of a chimpanzee stick a stick in an anthole and they eat it right off the
Exactly.
off that, right?
I
hold
saw
on.
an
The argument
elephant
you're making here is very
stuck
flawed.
up
Hold
another
on.
elephant's
Okay,
ass.
Kobe, go.
could be.
Yes, the argument that JJ is putting up here is pretty flawed. Okay, the idea that like bugs are more intuitive to eat, maybe slightly than some animals, right? Because you can't just like pick a chicken up and eat it. But I would argue that the most easy to eat easy to eat food would be what's it called? Vegetables.
Sugar
You just
cookie?
take it out that thing and eat it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Yeah,
I
like
was
I'm
thinking
not.
sugar cookie.
I don't think anybody's just gonna pick up a roach off the floor and just be like, "Yummy." You gotta
Yeah,
fry
they
it.
would. Yeah, they would. But Kobe, just to talk to your point, like I was talking about, I said food, but I guess I meant protein sources.
If you put three things on the floor, a baby, right? You have a cockroach, you have a pig.
Okay, that's three
and-
things. I'd eat the pig.
So, what is the baby gonna do? You think the baby's gonna like try to like kill the pig and eat it?
I do. Well, hold on. Is it the Sigma child?
Oh my
Yeah,
it's,
God. Oh God.
Keanu Reeves and that lady who got fired from The Mandalorian had a baby. So it's an alpha female and a sigma male. Think of the combination.
Oh my God. But still, like
Yeah, Keanu
Gino
Reeves.
Carano, but
Keanu Reeves has a baby.
okay, Gino Carano and Keanu Reeves is not going to have a baby because that doesn't make a goddamn sense.
Why would that not?
But
Why not?
but let's get to the.
We're talking about babies or
We're
bugs?
talking about bugs. I could guarantee you that I could probably would think that a baby would like in the United States would find that a meat is more tasteful than bugs because of the amount of things they would watch on TV.
I want to make this clear. I would have Keanu's baby.
Oh boy.
Yes, I'm also open to adopting little babies.
Yeah, I would fuck Keanu Reeves. Sorry.
Anyway,
yeah.
let's just okay.
We got a new person here.
I was not saying
Dodgy Jeff. You want to say something? You want to add something?
Well, hello everybody. Also been watching you for a while, Prime. Been passive viewer for a minute, and it's my first time jumping in. So, first time coming in, which is fun. Regarding the bugs, guys, like I've been to Thailand. I went to Malaysia. I actually had a tarantula on a stick, and I also had chocolate covered ants. Delicious, great. They roast it, they season it, they flavor it. It's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna eat what you have to survive,
You
right?
ate the
You got a
belly
baby
of
on
a
the floor,
like,
there's no meat.
Yeah, man, chocolate covered ants. I've had them before.
Oh
Wait,
come on! I mean, you do you know why? You know why it tastes good? Because you thought you would taste good, so you faked yourself for making yourself like saying. So it's like the secret. It's just like you imagine it tastes good, and you would end up tasting.
No,
good.
you don't.
Have you ever
It
tried to have like a
I don't like spiders,
It
man.
doesn't work
I
like
mean,
it
Charlie on the
doesn't
train
work
for
like
it.
that.
Like,
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, of course it would work like that.
No,
I
I can't bite into a snake and be like, oh man, I know it's gonna taste like chicken, and you bite into it. It doesn't. It's not gonna do that.
Haven't you had like a disappointing meal that you've had before?
Like someone else said, like yourself, like induce yourself to like psychosis or stuff like that earlier when we were talking about the self-diagnosis debate. Then why not just like they would think that like, oh, this thing is going to taste good, so it didn't taste good.
Well, I was in a different culture with different
you know
people,
what, Dan?
so I
You know
tried
what,
their
Dan?
food, and it tastes pretty damn good.
Like
you know what,
I
Dan,
ate
it's time for
belly
you to
of a
travel,
clam
man. Me and you, we hitting the road. We're gonna go get some chocolate covered ants, some chocolate covered spiders, some tarantula on a
vlog that shit.
I'm trying to ask a serious question.
You're cringing me right now.
Did the belly of a tarantula taste the same as the belly of a clam?
No, it did not.
Oh, so what did it taste like?
Well, the tarantula was roasted, and it was seasoned, so it tasted, crunchy.
Yeah,
Same thing with the ants;
was...
they were kind of roasted and chocolate covered, like a Nestle Crunch bar. That's what it tasted like, just a little bit more crunchy. And some legs.
Just out of curiosity, when you had the tarantula, and this might sound like a silly question, like did it still obviously you said it was roasted, right?
Yes, all the way through.
Did it still look like a tarantula?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay.
It was just on a stick, and it had the legs out, and it was freaky and disgusting, and I ate it, and it tasted all right.
Ate the legs.
So here's, I'm a very picky eater, so like I'm when it comes to like bugs, and also I'm a super arachnophobic, so like that. But I think the reason why I'm gonna say I can only speak for America. I can't speak for other like quote unquote Western countries, but like. I think one of the reasons why Americans can because I think someone brought up like earlier, I forgot who it was, that eating like what's the difference, like it's probably more natural to eat bugs than it is to eat like what was it, cow or something, like because it's just more intuitive, right? I think one of the reasons why we've convinced like in America at least, we convince ourselves that eating meat from like cows or pigs or whatever is like we don't even think twice about it. I think it's because you don't really see the pig in the process of it like by the time the bacon gets to you, by the time the burger has gotten to you, that meat has already gotten through so much like process. It's gone through so many different farms, probably had I don't know the meat process. I just know it's really extensive, right? It's gone through so many different iterations.
I think if you want to go beyond like the societal,
it's been ground up and it's been made.
I was directly at it.
Oh, okay. Was that was you? Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. I was saying exactly. Like, people don't want to kill things. It's like it's much easier just to like have an ant that is alive and it doesn't know that it is alive because it's a stupid fucking ant, and then you eat it and it's dead.
They're killing something.
Like a bunch of bugs. But like,
killing something.
I know, but like, you can't really have like a pet ant. You could have like chickens
You
have
can. Ant
personalities.
farms.
Well,
Come
would you
on, no, they
go-
don't have personalities. But like chickens have personalities. Pigs, of course, have personalities.
Wait a minute.
And then
would
like
you?
I don't
would-
think it has anything to do with personalities. I think
So
like
you
the
saying that
You're
an
gonna eat
ant
what's
isn't
available
I
like
guess
to
we can
you
talk
sentient?
about
by the
fish
land,
then.
right?
Right,
When it
Even
comes
it's
fish
down
have
to it.
personalities.
The thing
But
is, I don't
bugs?
think this is about personalities. I think it's just like you seeing the process of an animal dying. Like, look at how many people who watch
Animal-
pigs getting slaughtered. Like when like watching the process of a pig getting slaughtered, like at a slaughterhouse, whatever, that fucks with people. Like people who've been
Yeah.
eating like
Wait a minute, wait a
bacon
minute.
for years, then
Animal-
they watch a pig get
Wait a
slaughtered
minute.
and what's up? Go ahead.
Animals cannot have
You know
personality.
what this is making me
That's-
reminded me
that's
of
what-
when we was
That's
talking
what
about the dolphins.
psychology is calls an anthropomorphic fallacy. You cannot put a human trait onto an animal. Like
So-
this-
No. But you
Hold
can
on,
have empathy for the animal.
Can I
Like
ask you a
I
question?
have empathy for the animal that is getting slaughtered, but mostly it's because they've been living in a fucking factory farm, like warehouse.
Definitely
fucking
getting
slaughterhouse.
flashback from the fucking when we was talking about the dolphins.
Kobe, go
Definitely getting
ahead.
flashbacks.
So I disagree with what TK9 just said. I do agree that anthropomorphizing animals is like an issue when it comes to analyzing animals, but I don't think that just saying something as broad as a personality is grafting a human characteristic. There's an episode of the show Parks and Recreations where one of the characters goes to a conference for dogs with autism. That is anthropomorphizing dogs. I don't think dogs can have a human human disability or whatever, right? Like that's anthropomorphizing dogs. Just saying that an animal has a personality, well, I mean that's self-evidently untrue. We can take two dogs and we can say that two dogs that are both very nice can have two different temperaments. I think what people mean by personality is something that we can graft onto other animals in a way that something maybe like I don't know, saying somebody's like what's it called, like calling someone like an Aquarius or a Leo is not graftable onto a dog.
Okay,
That's a good litmus check. If I could
that
ask this.
brings up the question then: do animals have the same sentient belief that they know that they are alive?
I don't think you need to have
Can-
to have a personality.
Wait, before we get into that,
I can't prove that you have that. You can't prove that I have that. So like,
Well, I don't
wait,
even think you need to get to that point. I just don't think you need to have that. Sorry, go ahead, Funny.
well, it's just I feel like that's getting into a whole other conversation. If we can get into that if we want, but I think Double Shine just came in. I think he said he wanted to, or they wanted to come in and say something.
So I just had a quick question because you guys are talking about like consumption of bugs, right? Why don't we apply that same thing to consumption of, let's say, dogs and cats, right?
Some
Would you guys
cultures
be
do.
okay with eating that?
Yes.
the problem with eating dogs and cats is they
Right.
eat meat, and meat costs a lot of money and resources.
No,
to-
no,
we're
no.
not
he's just-
talking about
no.
environmental. This is like purely on like
No, yeah.
ethical.
Oh, well, then yeah, sure, I do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I'm in a country where they eat dogs and they're talking about that it's really good, fuck it, I'll try anything.
It
once,
doesn't matter what country it is, just because
Yeah,
it's
like, let's just
legal.
say-
If you went to a country where it's legal to like,
it's a part of
I'm
the, if
gonna-
it's a part of the
something
culture, if
COS,
it's
would
a
you
part
do
of the
it?
culture, if it's a part of the culture, I guess I'd be a little freaked out.
Kobe?
Well, I guess the bigger question is should we be using animals as food to begin
Oh
with?
my god. Kobe, go ahead, please.
Okay, I can't find it. I looked up white man, a Nigeria eating dog, and I can't find it. But I saw a video of this white vegan guy who has like a TikTok, and he went to Nigeria and he went to a dog market, and there's just this poor Nigerian man who's just trying to fucking buy some dog meat to go fucking take to his family, and the guy's literally like filming him like with like has it like the camera like front facing. He's like, this guy's eating a fucking dog. It's like the cringiest video I've ever seen in my entire life.
like
Hold on, just let me finish this thought, and then I'll throw it over to you. Okay. I personally think that like if you want to eat meat, drawing says like completely arbitrary lines where it's just like, well, I think it's animal. I think it's like these ones are pretty. No, if you're going to draw a line, put it like I don't know, put it to consciousness or put it to consciousness or do the weird thing that there's a funny like answer to this I think Richard Dawkins gives where he's like, if an animal does not look like a human, then I will eat it. I believe that you could eat like crawfish and like he only eats fish and like crawfish and stuff. stuff, and so because he believes that it's anatomically like evolutionarily different than humans. That's a weird argument. That's kind of like a weird like a what's it called, like evolutionary psychology argument. But listen, you gotta ground it in something. You can't just say like we can't eat dogs, we can't eat puppies, but we can eat cows and pigs, which pigs are much smarter than dogs.
And you can extrapolate that into saying like anyone who doesn't look like me deserves fewer rights. Like,
I think the other thing too, and I wanted
Fewer
to clear.
rights. Wait. You just went into a whole nother atmosphere with fewer rights. How are animals?
Sorry, it's not getting eaten.
Any
like,
kind of
not a
right.
Well, no. So what he'd be referring to there? Sorry to. He's talking about like, the idea of like
is
if you're
to make
drawing a line at the end.
when I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat the fucker. That's the only right that fucking animal has.
Sorry to interrupt you, Vivian.
Get out of here.
The reason why you bring it up is because Richard Dawkins' argument is kind of flawed. Because if you're making an argument just based off anatomical similarity, and you're saying I'll eat a crawfish because it doesn't look like me, but I won't eat a puppy because it looks like me, or etc., you could draw similar kinds of lines for human rights of other things. You're like, well, I don't think X group of humans is enough like me, for example, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, Vivian.
If I was starving and I had nothing else to eat, and there was a puppy in front of me, I'm killing the fucking puppy, and I'm fucking eating the fucker.
Good for you, buddy.
Vivian.
That's amazing.
Vivian.
This is
Thanks for being here.
Such great posturing. Yeah, I mean, I've eaten.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Jesus,
Oh my
shut the
god!
fuck up, dude.
Please,
You
Vivian.
have some kind of, I don't know. I've eaten all kinds of shit. Okay, I've had dog. It's pretty fucking greasy. I don't actually recommend it. It's not actually all that tasty. I've had gator. I've had fucking locusts. I've had ant mash, bumblebee ice cream. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I've had all
Ice
kinds of
cream.
shit.
How did that taste?
You know what? It was like mostly honeycomb ice cream with like minced up bumblebees in it that were also kind of crunchy, so it was hard to distinguish. But it had a little bumblebee in the bottom, like those screwball ice creams. It had like
had a bit of
in
a
the bottom.
sting,
and I ate that, and it was tangy. They taste it tastes a lot of like ants, I guess. Like it's really you probably haven't eaten either, so it's like
so
really
delicious.
hard to say. It's a kind of tangy, acrid flavor, honestly. It's not too bad actually, like some kind of sour thing in your ice cream. Anyway, point being, I think Kobe's right in that like if you want to come up with like some kind of heuristic as to like what animals is it moral to eat, I think the only way to do it is through the idea of suffering, right? Like, animals can suffer. We know this, right? There are like studies done on it, and animals do in fact have personalities as well. There's studies done on that, right? Especially among cows and pigs and so on. These things can. Okay, I mean you can shake your fucking head all you like, mate, but like just because you read something in one article.
Put personality onto an animal. You're talking.
Okay, I'm not talking about human personality. I'm talking.
Have you ever had a dog?
Yeah, I have plenty of dogs.
Okay.
You have,
and
like,
they're
because
all,
like
and
we
they're
can
all,
feel happiness.
How do you feel about killing one of them?
Not like
and they're all exactly the same, right? Their behavior is exactly the same. The way they react to things is exactly the same. Okay, cool. So they have different personalities, right? That's what we're saying. Okay, so right.
I had nothing else to eat, and I would kill the dog and eat it.
Okay, that's cool. Yes, if I had nothing else to eat, I would kill the dog. Okay.
Yeah, but
like
no one disagrees
and I'd
with that.
kill all of you.
I would probably, I would
think you're
probably
missing the
still kill and
question.
eat a dog now if I was just a little bit hungry and I was legally allowed to do so. Okay, but like what I'm saying is, right, I'm probably acting immorally, right? I'm probably acting immorally because I do base my morality on like suffering and well-being, and I do recognize that animals can suffer, and I should probably be at least some kind of like pescatarian where I only eat like shellfish or whatever, right?
Very good.
So you think it's immoral to eat a dog to survive?
All living things.
No, not to survive.
Living things
just for fun. Instead of vegetables.
Look, I'm probably the most food insecure person on this panel. Okay, I mean I'm not really making judgments, but I know my condition. I know my situation, and I'm quite often like eating rice for the last 2 weeks of the month. Okay, so like, but even I don't like go to the next door neighbor and go kill their fucking dog and cook myself up some bulgogi. All right, that's not my. Like, most people don't aren't going to be in that situation where all they have in front of them is a dog and they have to like slaughter it and eat it. In fact, I would wager that most of you wouldn't even fucking know the first thing about slaughtering and dressing an animal.
You wouldn't.
And also, like the animals that are in our cities these days, like they've eaten so much garbage and poison that like you can't actually eat their meat.
Yeah,
So
but
even
there's
if
lots
you
of
can
food
try
that's
to house in your
unhealthy.
city,
That doesn't matter.
You wouldn't go to your neighbor's
I know a
and
thing or
eat
two about
because it's
hunting.
not your dog.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's someone
I'm
else's
sorry
dog.
for
I don't
being
think
so
you can eat other
scathing,
people's
Kobe.
dogs.
I mean, TK Nana, I feel like you're going like these extreme situations that no one really disagrees with. Like yeah, like if we're let's go. You go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That was really
No,
no,
that
no,
was,
no. Yeah, no,
Oh,
yeah.
what's up?
I agree with you, new guy. That this is it's
funny
weird.
writer. It's all right.
Yeah,
I
no
get it.
problem. Okay, go ahead, Kobe.
I wanted to ask TK just a quick question. That'd be interesting. You don't seem to think that you seem to think that animals are just little meat robots. Do you think that it's okay to like do like animal testing? Do you think it's okay to like shoot a monkey with like a gun to see like how good the gun is or whatever? Like, do you think that's okay, like ethical to do?
It depends. Like, it depends. It depends. Okay. So
Wait,
let's
is there
say,
a-
let's
wait,
say,
why is
let's
there a
say.
problem
Wait
with
a minute.
that?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I mean, just like I'm referring to like cool.
Like you're not.
unusual
You're gonna
drugs.
ask me a question and I'll let me
Unnecessary.
answer. You're gonna ask me a question. Listen, it depends, right? Let's say that you needed that gun to defend yourself from someone else that's trying to kill you, and you wanted to see how
fuck is going on?
the efficacy of how much how.
Oh, you're going to
effective
test the
that
gun on the
is.
monkey. Okay, cool.
Right, so
Oh my
if the monkey is the only thing that you have to shoot at, then shoot the fucking monkey to see if it kills it. If it kills the
What are we
monkey,
even talking about?
Okay, wait. Here's what you're missing. Okay,
kill
TK,
you.
here's what you're missing. Okay, you're putting all these fucking provisos on it. You're saying if this is your only choice, right? But if it was not immoral to kill animals in any way, then you wouldn't have to put all these conditions on it. You'd be like, these
not-
animals are unthinking, unfeeling meat robots. Therefore, you can do whatever the fuck you want to them.
That's not true. I know animals are not unthinking. I know they are thinking. I know that they are less of a being that a human being is. And
Sorry, what do you mean by less? What does
if
less mean?
if it takes me using some other animal to protect the sanctity of my life, whether I have to eat it to survive.
Okay, yeah, fucking ridiculous
Okay, TK
hypothetical.
doesn't want to own it. I will own it. Yeah, I think you should be able to shoot them. It's a monkey.
Hey, guys,
We
I
like-
have a compromise. I would think that much of us, including, would probably, I understand that if then like we have a more advanced society to where we have like lab grown meat, to where then there'll be less of like a suffering to the animals and allow to have less of the issue of like having mass amount of farming, but instead you just eat lab grown meat, which is very harmless to animals and whatnot. Do you think that would do you think that would still be fine with doing
Well,
that?
we'd have to murder our entire cow population. You know.
If I have,
okay, we're just assuming that this is a more advanced place, and we don't exactly, but we're harming less animals.
Okay, but we have to talk about how we get there, right? Like, if we
Hold on.
replace all meat with lab-grown meat, then that means
But,
we
like,
kill all our farmed animals.
My theory here is this, okay? I read a book. When I start talking, you should just be activated, okay? You're like my echo, man. I read a book one time about like a social ecologist talked about how like we should rewild like big parts of the world where like
I already don't believe you. You read a book one time. Come on, Kobe.
Listen, I read it.
Oh my god!
I read a couple
Three times.
You guys
Maybe
are
like
trying
3
to
times.
fuck.
That's fired.
You know that you're mean to me, okay? I'm joking. Listen, what I'm saying is that perhaps what we could do with these animals, these chickens, and these cows is we could take them places like freaking Canada where there's just massive amounts of empty space, and we could just let these fuckers go wild, okay? I'm sure there's probably a lot of problems with that, but like to Dan's point, we could use Stellaris technology to make the problems go away.
There genuinely is like a shitload of problems with that, though.
We would have to kill a lot of them.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
saying
yeah, you would
is-
have to kill a lot of them, and if you just release them into the wild, you're like fucking up an
Well,
entire
but we're
ecosystem,
killing-
and you're
Hold on.
probably going to end up.
But
You're
we're
probably,
killing less. We
come
are
on,
killing
yeah.
less.
Vivian, finish.
You're probably going to end up like killing a whole shitload of other animals as well, because you're going to fuck up the ecosystem. This is a problem with like if you were to stop deer culling, for example, right? Deers fucking eat everything in sight. Like deers, when uncontrolled, destroy the environment to such a degree that other species go extinct in the area.
Talking
I
about
can really
specifically
go.
cows here,
Doing.
not deer.
What I care about is my survival. Okay.
For
TK,
fuck's
why do you keep
sake.
bringing
I
up your
gotta kill
survival?
We know you're gonna eat the puppy, bro. Chill. Just pause.
TK9,
Pause.
you're gonna have Chipotle tomorrow. Like, why are you talking about your survival? Like,
Just pause, bro. You gonna eat the puppy? We know. We know
I'm
already.
confused.
It's
Are there
fine.
people here who are not willing to eat bugs?
Yeah, some people
also
are.
higher
I
as
am.
you
Talk or not?
I don't.
Like, I really don't
I've thought about eating a
care.
scorpion before. I just figured like what would fried scorpion taste like.
For me,
I've eaten most bugs.
Tastes kind of
you know?
fishy, actually. Scorpion.
for
It's
me,
kind of
for me,
weird.
the
Alright,
only
so
reason
hold on. I want
why.
to hear from Eris. Eris.
Oh,
No,
good. Yeah.
I love eating bugs. Okay, like ever since I watched The Lion King, there's like a scene where Timon and Papa like eat all the bugs.
Who's that?
Oh, it looks like gummy candy. Yeah, I know. I remember that
We
scene.
all know this.
Yeah. The okay, so the perspective that I have, it's really interesting. Like you guys know about keeping kosher. It's like a Jewish thing. There's a lot of people don't know it's not just pork you're not supposed to eat. You're not supposed to eat bottom feeders of the ocean. So like lobster, shrimp, scallops, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
You're not
shellfish.
supposed to. And the
Personal
way
injury lawyers.
yeah, and the Jewish perspective on this is that they're the insects of the sea. So once I ate lobster, and I was like, sorry, I hope my dad's not watching this.
Oh my gosh,
Once
let
I
us
ate
let
lobster,
her
and I was
finish.
like, this is once I ate lobster, and I was like, this is like the most delicious thing ever. Then I was like, okay, all insects are out for grabs now, you know,
And
and
most
they
of
all
them are
taste
pretty
the same.
gross, though. Like, yeah, they're not super exciting insects.
Yeah,
Well-
no, I mean lobster is probably like the best one.
Well, look, so to me,
Well, they all basically taste like shrimp, lobster. It's very similar, and you just like fry it up and stuff. It's
Yeah,
not
like,
that
I
all-
bad.
disagree. They taste very different. You guys.
The
Hold on,
point
like,
is,
Yeah, like
all-
crab's real sweet.
all-
Shrimp's kind of bland, but
is that
yeah.
I think that meat. A lot of like people. Listen, I grew up with a. Okay, my mom's in the other room. But I grew up with a mother who is not the greatest cook in the world. Okay, and you can make chicken really shitty. Okay, you can make chicken,
Yep.
and you can be convinced that you don't like a lot of foods, and then you can try them made done well, and you can like them a lot. That's all I want to say.
I
okay?
grew up with overcooked chicken too. I understand.
And fried locusts
Oh,
with
man.
chili
What is-
oil.
what you're
Burnt
trying to
chicken,
make.
the worst.
Okay, but
what do you
I
think?
think I think me and like Kobe here would understandably would be fine with having like still airs technology to have like at least harmless meats that are made from like less from just grown in a lab than to having things done by regular farming techniques.
Okay,
But
that's
why aren't you fine with just eating like some delicious bugs?
Yeah, man. Some
Bugs
chocolate
made
covered
delicious.
ants.
Because that's not. I'm not going to go out of
Well,
my
we're
way to
jumping
eat
a couple
bugs.
I think I might have like one
I'm not gonna eat
explanation.
them.
Okay.
Come on,
Okay.
Dan. One
Here's-
chocolate covered ant. Just one.
Your meat
One
allocation
chocolate
per
covered
day
ant.
is like $3,
Just
and
one
it gets you
meat.
like
Just one meat.
300 grams of
That's a
or,
good
like,
example, man. That's a
3
good
kilograms
answer.
of like delicious crispy bugs. What would you do?
I would rather eat.
So many people
Oh my
talking.
god, he was talking
I
to
really
Dan.
thought
Shut
she
up.
was eating bugs.
Seriously, dude, shut up. He was talking to Dan. Holy fuck, TK9. Seriously. He said Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Why,
please.
I would
why
eat
are you
snake.
blaming me?
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Dan,
I would,
please.
I would rather eat a snake. I would rather eat deer. I would rather eat anything else than bugs.
So just vegetables and you have to get your protein from like I don't know, like a protein shake.
No,
What? You can
no.
get protein from vegetables, dipshit. You can get protein from all kinds of legumes
Beans
and
and
pulses.
stuff, yeah.
Soy. Okay,
Why-
the other
Why,
stuff-
why are you just blackpilling me to eat bugs? My God.
I don't
Dude,
remember.
it's okay, Dan. We're gonna get.
I don't
you
know
some
why I'm
The
doing that.
chocolate covered
future,
ants.
the future, like is a bug world. You guys gotta eat bugs. I'm just saying, eventually you're gonna have to just accept it.
I don't think so. Actually, I think that's straight
Well,
up
I mean-
bullshit.
Cool. Hold on.
I mean, we have a sustainable.
Can I be vegan and still eat bugs?
I don't
No,
think so.
almost
But we
no.
have a sustainable meat production. We're not going to run out of meat. Okay, it's not going to happen. Climate change might affect that at some point in the very distant future, but for the moment, at least us in Western countries, we're going to be just fine. Even in those places where they do eat bugs, by the way, like on a regular fucking basis, like China and shit, right?
Yeah, they still eat a lot of
Like
meat.
it's pretty. Most people do it either for medicinal purposes because they're like Chinese traditional medicine shit, or because they're literally so poor they can't fucking afford anything else, right? People don't like bugs generally, and like the best ones I've ever had were like these fried locusts with chili oil, and they were nothing special, kind of crunchy, a little bit musky, not particularly pleasant.
You know what? I bet, going off what Eric said earlier, what a Jewish philosopher perhaps would have said in the 15th century, they would have said the same thing about lobsters. Oh, you think a lobster is delicious? This thing that these people in the Caribbean just eat, they're so poor, but then they figured out how to cook them correct. But I will concede that also one of the examples they brought up was Cambodia, which they literally started eating spiders because there was the Khmer Rouge famine, which is obviously a bit of a a shitty example, but yeah.
I think because like we're when we're talking like eating bugs, and this is because something I was saying earlier, I didn't get to like fully articulate it. Regarding like why so many people, and again, I'm obviously like specifically referring to like America. I can't speak for other nations, right? When I think of like, I mean, I'm a very picky eater, so I don't have like a very diverse set of like palate, for lack of a better term. But like when I think of like meat, right? I feel like if a lot of the I guess the disgust, the knee-jerk reaction to like eating a tarantula for me would be arachnophobia, right? Like seeing something that looks like a spider would terrify me, even though I know it's dead, even though I know it's fried. That would just terrify
And
me,
you're
right?
American, right? Where,
to
the
be
land where
fair-
there's one fucking spider that can actually hurt you a little bit, and you're still
Yeah,
afraid of spiders.
it's totally
I-
irrational. I'm not saying it's rational.
I
It's
know
not
a lot
rational.
of people who won't eat things like white bait, or probably wouldn't eat meat if like the pig's head was still on the plate, right? Because
That's what I'm
people
getting
are
at.
so-
Yeah. And so like
People are-
what I'm getting, so like for instance, so like my
Here's privilege.
sister, yeah, like my sister used to love calamari, and so I only eat the calamari that looks like onion rings. But I know you can sometimes get calamari that looks like, you know, the actual squid. And my
Yeah.
sister actually grossed herself out by playing with this we were like 16, and she was like playing with the squid, and like she like all of a sudden looked at it and realized like it looked like a squid, and like it grossed herself out, and now she'll never eat calamari. And like I'm not saying that this is rational. This is 100% not rational.
Very
whatsoever.
irrational.
Yeah,
It's very irrational. But the point
Would you eat the
is that
spider if it was minced and put in a soup?
if
Well, I think it reminds
honestly,
us. I
it
think
depends on how
reminds
much.
us-
Oh, but go ahead, Vivian.
I think it reminds us that we're actually eating a living thing, right?
Exactly.
And I think that is where that sort of mesic feeling comes from. That feeling of like disgust.
How many
a
of
little
us
bit
have
fear.
killed an animal and then ate it?
I have.
I've fished, but I know I'm never gonna raise my hand.
You never killed.
Does
the
fishing
animal?
count? I'll raise my hand if fishing counts.
Oh,
Do you
I
kill the
fished
fish and eat
shrimp.
it, or do you
I
just
caught
one.
leave it there?
I mean,
I've-
it probably suffocated to death. I don't fucking know.
I've killed
I have no idea.
Oh, dude, that's
Yeah.
worse than just killing it.
Yeah,
I've
well,
killed several dozen fish. I've fished
At
a
least-
lot as a kid.
At least I'm
You gotta
open being
bonk it on the head.
irrational.
One time
I'm
I oh, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'm open being irrational towards the things I eat. Like even for like you mentioned about squid, like you ate squid, right? Like
My sister freaked
Yeah,
herself out with
I would rather
calamari.
play the squid game than eat a squid.
Well,
Because it's
well,
that
but that's
Wait,
the
what's
thing,
wrong
right?
with
Like,
squid? It's tasty.
That's a one.
and the thing is, I like
chance of
calamari.
living.
I
But,
don't
like-
care. It's like I'm so irrationally I would rather go through like an event like the Squid Game than to eat a squid because it's that terrifying to me.
But like
you
that,
might
that's
not
what, that's
know.
what
It
I'm
might
saying.
be delicious. It might be delicious because
How-
I
like-
had
Pretty
Dude.
delicious.
Like,
Some
like,
squid.
like Dan, let me ask you.
Shit,
Let me ask
how
you.
we're good.
So like,
Ribbon.
Dodgy asked me if tarantula was diced up and put into soup, would I eat it? if I couldn't tell it was a spot, if you chopped it up, didn't enough to where I couldn't tell, and you didn't tell me, I probably would.
If it's a powder, then maybe for sure.
Like and that's the thing. Imagine if someone like got a tarantula and cooked it in a way that you wouldn't know it was a tarantula and fed it to you and told you it was, I don't know, lamb. I don't know.
Well, see, that's like it's like impossible meat. You know what I mean? If nobody told you that shit wasn't meat, you probably wouldn't be questioning.
Maybe.
Unless you eat meat every day. Like if you're like me and I don't eat meat every day.
I'd be like, this is some bad meat. It's really mushy. What the fuck is this overprocessed shite?
And it's like when I look at like a hamburger, right? Like the actual burger, I'm not seeing the cow. I'm not seeing like the process that goes into how that burger came into place, right? Like in every farm or wherever ranch does, like they kill the cow differently. I know different there are different practices, I know. But like I don't see that. I just see the burger, right? I don't see that. And so so I can understand from a Western perspective, and I'm obviously using that term very loosely. From a Western perspective, when you're like, hey, here's this scorpion, and it's just a scorpion that's like roasted, right? Like I can see someone being like, oh my God, no.
To be fair though, that kind of is the problem with like.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you.
With like insects and arachnids and shit, is that they're so fucking small, dude. Like we eat shrimp pretty much as shrimp come, right? I mean, I guess some people get their shrimp like deshelled first, but like most people are like okay with eating shrimp like that. It'd be really, really difficult to serve up insects like prepared in some other fashion than just being the whole insect.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying like if it was like if we somehow like okay, you bring up
mush
shrimp.
it up into insect paste, which is like a proper. It's actually a proposal, isn't it? Using to make like insect bars and shit like that.
Insect flour made out of insects, and you can actually bake with it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
To the point about shrimp, the shrimp industry is actually completely and unfathomably unsustainable. There are not going to be shrimp that are like relatively affordable at your grocery store. The only reason that the shrimp industry exists is because countries like Vietnam and Thailand specifically will basically have like below whatever bare minimum wages and and it's unfathomably what's it called, ecologically hard to like on the environment and then to get them around, because for the example reason you said, they're fucking small. You got to have, for even big old jumbo shrimp, which they're hard to grow, you got to have a bajillion of them.
And look at like in shrimp too, right? Like what's the first thing you do to serve shrimp to people? You decapitate it. It's the first thing you do. You decapitate shrimp. Like I'm sure maybe, I mean, do people ever serve?
To be fair, the head is kind of bitter. That's the same for most.
I didn't know. I didn't know they did that. I'm so used to them being decapitated. Like because I've gone fishing for shrimp. I'm from South Florida, so I've gone shrimp fishing before. And so I've caught like one of the first things that I was always taught to do was just chop the head off, right? And I figure like once I finish the sentence, I'm sure there might be some instances where people don't cut the head off. I realize that afterward.
We eat whole shrimp like pretty regularly.
We
use the heads for stock as well.
I'll have to try that.
Typically, if you go to like a Asian, like around
boil it with some onion, celery, and carrot, and you're good.
Don't do that with fish when you're making like fish stock though. Remove the heads for that, because the heads just make it taste really bad.
All right, listen. I'm gonna go play Far Cry 6. Okay, I'm just gonna play.
Okay, fuck off then.
Wait, is it out?
Oh my God!
What's your thing?
No.
Maybe you could read a book and play instead of playing some video.
You're gonna play a Far Cry from a good game.
As we're talking about that, link it in the damn chat.
Have you heard of Team Fortress 2?
Hey, the reason I talked about this is I learned that in the ancient Aztec times, the Mexica people would eat dragonflies as a delicacy. They put in honey.
The Mexica people.
Yeah, no. I'll link the Wikipedia.
It's Mexica.
Yeah, but
Listen,
but
I read it in a book.
obvious.
I read it in a book. I don't speak the Spit language. Okay. Mexican people. Okay, listen. I'll link the book. Okay?
But it's obvious that probably the Incas had a better delicacy. They had potatoes, or kind of and a lot of corn
Potatoes
too.
are pretty bad.
That's just racist against Mexicans, dude, or Mexicans.
Oh, no, I'm more liable for Incans because I'm half Peruvian, so I'm willing to defend them
Covered ants
on this. But to be clear, yeah, but like they had more options than like eating bugs and like having some form of like cocaine.
But if they chose to eat them, wouldn't that say something?
Someone take
they
a
had
pill.
other options and then you'd eat bugs.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
want like, the moral ethics of
they
being an
love
animal.
cocoa
Yo,
leaf.
Captain, here you go.
If you go far enough back, pretty much everybody ate anything that they could eat. Okay. And it's really, really weird how our industrialized like food processing, whatever, right? It's detached us so much from the food that we actually eat that when we come face to face with the idea of like killing an animal or eating an animal that still has its face attached, people don't like it. They're not used to it, right? It disturbs them in a way that if you'd grown up with that shit, it just wouldn't.
Yeah, I went to an Asian market a little while ago, and one of the things was just like, you know, those like white polystyrene like rectangles that are covered in plastic and there's like some meat inside. There was just a face of a pig. And I bought it and I gave it to a friend. I gave it as a gift to a friend as a joke. But like,
and people like pig face because it's some of the
full
more
of,
tender
it's full
skin.
of gelatin
Yeah.
and there's some delicious meat. But like, I only saw it and it was like $4, so I like bought it as like a joke gift for a friend. And now I wish I kind of fucking cooked with it because like, yeah, there's some good shit in the face, but like it's just like it's gross. You know, it's gross to look at as like from my point of view. But bugs are not gross to look at because I used to eat them as a kid till
Same for feet actually as well. Like I cook with pig's trotters pretty regularly because I use pig's trotters are pretty easy to get a hold of.
Pig's trotters.
And
Not pig's feet.
Yeah,
pig's trotters. Oh, that's great.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
my
very.
grandma-
That's fantastic.
My
I'm
grandmother
very British. Leave me
my
alone.
grandmother pretty much installed
let me
the
finish,
love of pig
motherfuckers.
feet.
So yeah, I cook with pig's feet pretty often because I use it to make ramen. It's like is probably one of the better pieces to use for ramen.
Ramen and pork.
Yeah. Just to make the stock, right? For tonkotsu ramen. But like, yeah, so chicken feet as well are just really fucking nice and considered a delicacy like around most of the world. But we don't go near feet. Like most of us in the West don't go near feet. Like pig's trotters are not fucking popular over here anymore, right? They used to be because they were a cheaper cut of meat that like poor people could afford. But now we can just have pork, right?
Yeah, my neighbor is a halal butcher, and they have like so many feet. Like they have pork. Actually, no, they don't have pork. They only have actually two kind of feet. They have lamb and three: lamb, goat, and beef feet. And it's just like there's like
I really recommend
just like big lines of feet. It's pretty crazy.
I really recommend feet for like for stocks because it's just like was it JJ said about the face, like they're just full of collagen, so they're like really, really good.
Yeah, so
Vivian,
guys, can I say this question to everyone?
Yeah.
I have a premise for everyone. Do you think like a poor person's poor enough, should they like have the right to go and like kill a pigeon and eat it because that's the only food they could probably get?
They have the right to do it, yes.
I was about to say, is that not a?
They should have to. There should be.
Can I kill a pigeon?
I mean, is anybody gonna stop you from killing it? Is it legal to kill a pigeon?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can kill a pigeon now.
No, it is illegal. It is
illegal to kill a pigeon.
To kill a pigeon, a common ass bird.
What if I accidentally killed it?
But they're food to some people,
If I-
right?
if I remember
if they're
correctly-
hungry enough, would that be justified to do it?
I mean, if
It
I
would be
was
justified,
hungry
and
enough,
if they
I'd
got
kill a.
arrested,
I
they
Are we
would kill a
talking
pigeon.
morally or legally?
Food in
Don't
prison.
eat those fucking gross ass city pigeons, but wood
Yeah, the
pigeon
city
is really
pigeons are
nice
not what you
actually.
want.
Also,
wood
just real
pigeon's
quick,
tasty.
Vivian, I just have a quick question for you. You said you had gator before. Was that gator tail? I'm just out of curiosity.
It was gator burgers, so it probably wasn't the tail.
I've had
Gator tail's
crocodile.
really good. Gator tail's real good.
I've had crocodile. I think it was tail. It was
Yeah,
in
and those city
Kenya.
pigeons might be good, Viv. You don't know. You just gotta
But,
fry
like,
'em
if we're
right.
talking,
Pork
I'm not a
It
legal
tastes like
scholar.
McDonald's and
more fish.
cigarettes, mate.
Yeah, like I'm not a
Delicious.
legal
Yeah.
scholar, so I can't speak from there. But like morally, like if you're poor and you're starving, like yeah, like I feel like that's a no-brainer.
I would
Yeah,
To me,
again, I don't know why we're going into like silly
Yeah.
No,
hypotheticals
if you're
of
poor
like
enough, just
if you-
fucking steal. You deserve to steal and get away with it. Okay, just
I think like, what if the question was not a poor person, but just like, can we go hunting in the city for like rats
the answer
or
is
pigeons?
legally
Maybe
no.
sure.
in the city,
I've
Yeah,
done,
like,
I've
could
done
you-
the
like, could you
stealing
just go
thing.
hunting?
I
Like a
can't.
city rat? I don't know. Those motherfuckers are big.
Yeah, I
I've
know,
done
but
the,
like, who
I've done the
cares?
stealing thing, but I can't afford to be fucking arrested, and neither can like most poor people afford to be arrested for like shoplifting. So like, yeah.
But like what like some like policeman like throw some of you in prison because you killed a pigeon though? I mean, like it's just a piece of food.
It depends. Here in the UK, yeah, we have some pretty strict like hunting laws and all that sort of stuff. So you can't just walk around the country with a slingshot taking out any bird you see. Like
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand that because it's the Queen's hunting grounds. I get that.
no, it's not. It's not because it's the Queen's hunting
The
grounds.
royal
It's because
hunting
we're-
grounds. No, you peasants, stay the fuck off.
It's because
Those are the
we're- it's because
royal
we're
pigeons we're talking about, okay?
It's the
because-
royal.
it's
It's the
because we
queen's
have-
birds. Okay,
Exactly.
you can't hunt the
Fuck's
queen's
sake.
birds.
Exactly.
Are you all done? Are you all done?
No.
No,
I guarantee you we're
Do
not.
you want to say
One
anything
more,
else
one
about?
more.
do you
Yeah,
wanna
yes,
say
I
anything else
just got
about
one
Queen
more thing,
Victoria,
Vivian, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
1776.
Got here.
A pig's
Was that
trotters.
1776?
That's
Okay. All right. No, it's because we're like super fucking sensitive over like animal welfare when it comes to hunting. You can hunt, for example, in the United States with a bow. We can't do that. We can't do bow hunting here. We're not allowed. Yeah, we have to use a gun, basically.
But does like the Queen have like her own like royal woods or whatnot?
yeah, and also the special unit for the Britons in Age of Empires 2 is a longbowman. How is that even possible?
Yeah,
It makes me very sad because
You know what?
I did archery in university, and I feel like I would be a pretty proficient
You know
bow
what?
hunter. But
England needs to make its policies of Age of Empires 2. That's my call. That's my call right there.
No.
well, I mean
Viv-
that's what we did for centuries, and it ended up with the
True.
transatlantic slave trade.
She's
So.
the only one who's allowed to kill someone with the weapon of choice. And as for hunting pigeons in the city, you don't want to. And if you can actually get one, you could probably get away with it. You know,
Those
Come on.
things are fucking
These days-
diseased, though,
I
man.
mean, the
You get
biggest
tuberculosis or
problem
some shit from
with
that.
like hunting pigeons and squirrels, like I don't know if it's illegal or not, but like the question came up, like, well, would police really get on you for hunting a pigeon? The only answer I could come up with is like, if you did it in broad daylight and someone complained that they just watched a man like kill a pigeon, they might be like, oh my god, no, I'm calling the
Bring your
police.
chihuahua with you and be like, that pigeon was trying to kill my chihuahua.
Yeah.
It's
This is
also
offense. And they'll be like,
Yeah, that pigeon,
posting that
that
on
pigeon
Facebook.
had it coming. That fucker had it coming. He was.
Yo, to be real,
Walking
all
at
pigeons
you.
have it coming.
Man, one of the
Are
most
pigeons-
disturbing things I ever fucking saw with regards to animals, because animals are fucking psychopaths. We all know that, right?
True.
Like, it was me and my friends sitting in the park when I was much younger, okay? And all of it, like, no joke, all of a sudden out of fucking nowhere, this pigeon just comes fucking hurtling down out of the sky, lands on the ground, like, pretty fucking hard, stands up, wobbles around a bit, throws up, and then falls over, right? Clearly it, like, I don't know, like broken its neck or caved its skull in or something, like, and then this other pigeon comes out of fucking nowhere and just starts fucking it. And I swear to Christ, this was like, we were all traumatized by that for like a week. It was so messed
Dang.
up.
If we're killing pigeons, can we kill those goddamn seagulls? Can we get rid of them? Because they're a menace.
Can we
I
just
think
admit
we're-
that pigeons are actually just rats that can fly that have feathers?
Oh my god. Wait, hold on.
I mean,
hold
I'm not
on.
sure if that's particularly accurate taxonomy.
Hold on. That's a whole other can of worms. But so when we're talking about like hunting pigeons in the city, like I think the other thing too is like because not only like I would add like an additional dimension of what the Pyro pointed out is I don't just think it's like in broad daylight. I also think it depends on where you kill the pigeon in the city, depending on like what part, like are you near the richer area where like people like to keep their property values high, and if there seems to be a problem of people killing pigeons and eating pigeons in front of civilians near your property, like people are going to get concerned that their property value is going to get low, and then cops are going to get involved.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
hold on. It's the classic case.
we need to lower
It's the-
property values as much as possible.
It's the
okay.
classic case of
I'm just saying
poor
that would be
people.
that would be
like a
something.
celebrationist, okay? But and also too, why do you think that we're gonna like poor people or people who are homeless are gonna cook like a freaking pigeon in front of like a rich people's house? I don't.
Now
think
my
that's-
property prices just went down because of that.
I'm just saying
Right.
that would be the effect. I'm just saying that would probably be an effect. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying that would probably be what would happen.
And notoriously,
I
poor
want that
people
housing
don't
market
care if
crashing right
pigeons
now.
get eaten right in front of them. So that's only a rich people care about that
Hey,
kind of
Funny,
stuff.
just to kind of answer your question about that whole
Poor
legal
What I
thing.
need
In the
just-
U.S., apparently, it's legal to hunt pigeons unless they're on a wild reserve, and then the U.K. it's illegal. So
If
you can
the,
totally hunt a pigeon and eat it in front of a rich person having a picnic if you want.
If the rich
So
person
just
gets
another
all
reason the
fucking
United
upset,
States is better than the UK. Got it.
if the rich person gets all fucking upset, you can just eat them. Sorted.
I'll have to research that
Bada
law.
bing, bada boom. Feed the
In Minecraft,
proletariat.
right? In Minecraft, right?
Why would you do it in Minecraft? That's not going to sustain you.
Who's
Dipshit.
rich in Minecraft? The person with all the diamonds? No, I haven't played Minecraft
I
in a
just
long
will
time.
say,
I don't know.
like, on the topic of eating pigeon, squab is delicious. So, like, anyone who hasn't tried it should try it.
I feel like we've strayed somewhat from the original topic.
I mean, is any other
Does that
topics?
bug you?
God damn it! God damn it!
Oh
Wow.
my God. Guys. I just learned that pigeons actually are not covered by like they're a pest. I can actually fucking
thank
kill the
God.
pigeons.
See,
Oh
I
my
knew.
God.
See, what did I say? Pigeons are just flying
if-
fucking rats.
If they are
It's-
causing
they're
damage
no
to my
better.
property and they're shitting on my fucking balcony, so I can legally kill the fucking pigeons that are trying to fucking roost on my
I think on
I
private
mean,
property,
I mean,
definitely,
sure.
right?
I mean, there's
But, like,
castle
I rent the
doctrine
property.
laws.
It's my fucking property.
Well, it's
Castle
castle
doctrine.
yeah,
Fuck
castle
you, pigeons.
doctrine.
Stay off my property.
You guys know
Yeah,
about
like,
the
you just-
Hawaiian
Okay, but
sling?
you should probably avoid killing things wherever possible. Like, if you're killing it to eat
But
it,
it's,
fine.
but it's legal
just
though if you
killing
have
it
castle
because
If I
it's a-
doctrine.
kill a pigeon,
killing
my
it because it's a
partner is
minor
gonna be like, "Oh my
nuisance.
god, that's such a fucking alpha male thing to do." And I'm
Look,
gonna
I
get
will.
Look at this alpha
I will
male
hunt-
dominating
I
a
will-
pigeon.
I will hunt, kill, skin, dress, eat a fucking rabbit, right? But if I have a spider in my house, I will do my absolute best to escort it out gently and not harm it. That's
You
because
have
like
the-
there's no. Sorry?
Yo, yeah, I was about to say you have the patience of a saint. I would be fucking terrified.
I don't see any point in killing something because it's a fucking nuisance or killing something because it's annoying me, right?
Well, if you have like a
Have you ever
bird
had
in your
roaches or
backyard,
mice?
like shitting on your porch, like
fuck?
why
It's just
can't you just kill it?
There's a spider in the
Because
corner
it's
of your
cruelty for
room.
cruelty's sake.
I
right?
like
No,
the
it's
old
like-
school logic, right? You invaded
Yeah,
my
it's just
house.
being cruel because
you
have no fucking
invaded
reason
my
to do it.
house. Like that. This is like if you're on the outside and I see you and like I'm freaked out. I'm not gonna kill you. You're outside. But if you're in the corner of my house, it's blitzkrieg time. Everything on my table is being launched into the corner of that room until that spider is dead.
I'm sorry, I was trying to take it back to a serious place, but like, you know.
I'm serious. Like I like outside, cool. Bugs and
Yeah,
shit.
I know
you
you're
can live
serious.
outside.
Describing
But
what you would
inside-
actually describing what you would do is not the same as morally justifying it, okay? Just because you're slightly spooked by an insect that's like a millionth of your fucking size.
Are you saying
Okay,
that
doesn't give
insects
you a right to
have the
murder it.
same should have the same like we should care about insects the same way as we care about other humans? Like in terms
No,
of
I'm
their
saying
like
we
value?
shouldn't fucking no, I'm saying we shouldn't cause suffering where it isn't necessary.
But
I'm telling you,
insects
like
can't suffer. They don't have-
insects are exempt from that. Like if it's like a rat, not like a rat, but like
I
if it's like
don't
a
know if
raccoon
insects
or
are
a
exempt
deer
from
or
that.
something.
Okay,
like,
hold
But
on.
their
I'll
brains
make that an
they don't
exemption.
have like
I
pain
don't know if
receptors.
What about
Yeah, Like,
They
I
need
don't
to
know
have
if
pain
insects are
receptors.
exempt from that. Sure, their experience of suffering is going to be
Well.
significantly different from our own. But to say
Well,
we know
yeah.
they cannot suffer, that is fucking
Well,
nonsense.
yeah, Vivian. Like, they're not like Charlotte's Web. They're going to kill you if they're like poisonous or whatnot.
Well, there are very
No,
few
no, no.
spiders that will kill you. They're
No,
very
I
few.
want to
At
know.
least in
I
America,
want
I
to
can
know
only.
about like cockroaches and mice. Like, they're gonna like live catch cockroaches and mice and like put them outside and they just come
Yeah.
back inside your house again. No, you gotta fucking kill them.
Like,
I
okay,
did that. I
here's-
did that.
here's the thing.
I did that exactly once. I caught a mouse because my grandmother told me to kill it, and I took it outside. And then I watched that motherfucker run right into the backyard, back into the fucking house. And I'm just like, shit. I probably should have did what my grandmother told me to.
So
Like,
here, I'm speaking
well,
as
hold on.
someone who
Pause
is.
for a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Rob Nora,
just a
thank you.
fucking mouse, though. Who
Thank you
cares?
for the kind raid of 40 individuals. Hope you're doing well, Rob. Yeah, really nice to see you. Hope you're having a good time. To the people who've come in, my name is Prime. We have these open panels all the time where individuals can join in. Individuals just like you. These are all members of my community. If you want to be a part of that, we'd love to have you. Jump on in, !open, and chat if you want to join in the conversation. Or on the other, hit that follow button right now and make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. We do panels, we have discussions 6 nights a week. Don't want you to miss out on any of that content. So hit that follow button right this second. We'll have to have you. So thank you again, Rob, for being so kind as to share your community with us. And have a good night, Rob. But yeah, go ahead.
But what's the problem? What's the problem with having a mouse in your house? Fuck it. It's just a mouse, mate.
It eats
so
my
I was about to-
food. Wait. It eats my food, and then it proceeds to shit in the same place where I get my food. That's the big problem. And then they breed, unironically, like rats.
Yeah.
wait,
So
hold-
I
wait,
looked
hold-
it up, and insects don't feel pain that we would consider pain. They might like know that there's like a flame near them, and well, depending on the stupid ass insect, fly directly into it or fly away from it. But some insects are so fucking stupid they fly
I don't
right
think the
into
pain
it.
argument matters, right? Because in
yeah,
the case of
well,
a mouse,
kinda.
a mouse will feel pain, but I would still kill a mouse. It like doesn't matter to me.
I have killed a
Okay, yeah,
mouse.
but it's like
I stepped on it.
okay, so it's
It was brutal.
It's at what
I'm never
point is
gonna
it
forget that.
It's at what point is it reasonable to kill the mouse, right? I think we would all agree that we should probably try to reduce suffering as much as possible, as much as is feasible, right? So, like, if you just happen to see a mouse while you're out walking, right? You're not gonna fucking stomp the poor thing, right? That it's not doing anything to you. It's not interfering
Well,
with your life. It's
yeah.
just
That's
existing
why
in the
I
fucking
said
world,
earlier, like
right?
that's why I said earlier in the Mimi tongue, like if it's in my house, right? Like
Okay, cool, yeah.
insects,
I
nah.
think,
Like
thank you, Byron.
small
But, like,
animals and shit, like I'll try and remove. Rats, if I remove you and like I see you run back into my house, I tried harm reduction. I tried to give you your life. It's apparent that like you deem it more beneficial to live in my house, and you can live in my house.
I have lived on a farm actually, kamikaze. But like, the point, that's exactly the point I'm making, right? Like, once it gets in your house, it starts interfering with your daily life. Then you have to start trying to make moral calculations, right? Like, it may very well be that like having mice in your house is going to be they're gonna like fuck with your food supply. They're gonna shit where you need your food and stuff. That could end up making you ill. Then it might be like reasonable to like exterminate them, get rid of them, right? But if there's another way to get them out of your house, you should probably explore that and try and do that instead.
I also think
I've used
so hold on. In the case of like a rat, which is a pest that gets into shit and ruins stuff, and overall like gets into your walls, it can rip up electrical stuff, get into your insulation. And you're just saying that like, well, we're just like we gotta be nice.
To a word that I just
Fuck
said.
that. Viv,
I
okay,
don't
kill
think
these
I think I've
motherfuckers.
done the nicer approach of laying down like sticky traps, like the little adhesive
That ain't
traps.
nice.
That's
Sticky
not
traps
nice,
are
bro.
not nice. Oh my
Imagine
god.
imagine you're just walking and then you can't move and then like you fall over and start suffocating. That's not
So
nice.
bad.
I'd rather just like reach out for a piece of food or something and then boom, my neck's just gone. That's just
Well, like I'm also just thinking like so I got a cat when we were having a mouse problem at my mom's house years ago. Like I got a cat, and that cat was not nice and would torture those mice over the period of sometimes like hours. These motherfuckers would be alive, twitching their little fucking arms and shit, like still breathing, and my cat's just sitting there like.
Yeah, I've seen that. My brother's cat like plays with the food when it catches mice. Like it tricks them into like thinking that they're gonna get away. It's so scary.
I think like going with what Vivian's talking about, it's super contextual. Like I mean, I've it's so weird. Like we're talking about insects for so long, and like I've mentioned multiple times that spiders fucking terrify me, right? And whenever when you see a spider like on your ceiling, you know what that spider is going to do? As terrified as I am of spiders, you know what that spider is going to do when it's on your ceiling? It's just going to sit the fuck there.
Yeah.
It's going to do
mind
nothing.
its own fucking business.
It's going to mind its own business.
Not true.
I
it
mean,
could be
I
doing
can't-
some. It could be doing some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible shit in the middle of the fucking night. You have no fucking idea.
I've had spiders that would sit on my ceiling, and I would look at them because I'm like, "Yo, they're just not going to do anything." And then they like army crawl their way right over me, and then they fucking drop down, and I'm like, I've had to call my mommy to kill spiders. I refuse to sleep in rooms because of that very issue. The spiders will attack if they have the numbers. Don't trust the spiders.
Do you think a spider can understand how big you are? It just sees
I've seen
prey.
arachnophobia. I don't trust spiders.
The thing is,
why is JJ in my JJ? Why are you in my basement?
This is I literally looked up Google Images sex dungeon.
Oh my god!
Even if we had a bunch of spiders just like chilling on the ceiling, right? Let's just say they're not going to attack you. Like, why should I have to leave them there? I don't see a reason to.
Thank you. They're going to breed. They're going to make more spiders. Why would I want that?
I mean,
So this is the calculation, right? Like, number one, like, can I reasonably tolerate this creature being like in my house or like wherever it is, right? If the answer's yes, then just leave it the fuck alone. Like, it doesn't matter, right? If the answer is no, then it's like, what methods are available to me to like get this creature out? And you should probably choose the most humane like method that you possibly can that's sure to work. Now sometimes that might just be killing it, right? But like I don't think this sort of like blasé. I know you're kind of memeing here a little bit, some of you, but like I don't think this blasé like, well, I can't be fucked doing any of these moral calculations. I'm just gonna murder a bitch because it's fucking over there and it annoys me. Like I think that's like
all that moralizing, Viv. But like,
I think spiders are like
cockroaches,
beneficial.
What are you gonna do about them? You gotta fucking kill the cockroaches.
Yeah, I like
They
my
just make
spiders.
fucking babies.
I think spiders are
I have never killed a
beneficial.
spider in my apartment. I killed all.
Get
the
rid of those
cockroaches I ever
houseflies.
see.
Get rid of
I
wasps.
think house spiders are like beneficial because they catch other like insects like roaches and stuff like that. I think they're beneficial. But if it's like a gigantic fucking tarantula that like snuck its way into my house, I'm killing that motherfucker. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. If it can cause troubles to you, like it's not looking after. It's not going to take care of that many fucking household pests. It'll take. It'll kill the spiders that take out the household pests. It'll give you a fucking big ass welt.
If I, as an animal several hundred times larger than it, can see it, it's not being a good predator, and the gene pool needs to be better in my house so it can kill those bugs efficiently. If I'm seeing it, I imagine those little cockroaches.
Again with the fucking memes.
It's not a meme.
That's the point of view.
I am not in your head, and I have not. I don't know you personally, Pyro, but I'm only speaking from like my life, right? So like I lived in South Florida for most of my life,
I'm so sorry.
I know. We don't talk about it except for right now. And I've had a bunch of spiders that like have been in like on the ceiling of my room, right? And I won't lie to you, like when I'm sitting there like trying to sleep, I'll look at it and like I'll have like this mental like back and forth in my head, like you stay the fuck there, I'll stay the fuck here, we cool, and then 9 times out of 10, when I wake up in the morning, that spider's gone and I never see it again.
So
I
like
wonder
for
where it
me,
went.
I have an intense arachnophobia. I
so
cannot
do I.
I cannot I
So do
can no
I.
I'm telling you right now, I
So
cannot fall asleep in the room if I know there's a spider in the corner. I either have to
Me
get rid of
neither.
it
Okay, so
or go
put it in
into
a
another
glass
room.
and put it in
so
a
Okay,
glass
well,
and
I
put it
funny,
in the
again,
No,
funny,
okay,
funny
wait,
rhetorician.
Vivi, you can't like I like no. I'm sorry, just no. Like I can't even go to sleep. Again, I have to get my mommy to kill the spiders for me, and you're like, just get a glass. No, I'm not
you know
getting
they
that
sell.
close.
You know they sell like I forgot what it's
They
called.
sell bug spray, bro. You know what the
No,
bug spray does?
there's a
But
there's a
Get a
there's a
handheld vacuum.
if we were talking about creatures with like greater sentience or whatever, right? Like if people have like a tremendous fear of dogs, right? The idea that you could just fucking murder a dog for being near you, people would go fucking ballistic
If
over
it
that.
was in
What
my
about a
house,
Yeah,
mouse?
if it was
I
in your
would hold-
house, of
yeah,
course.
like
If it's a
if it was
dog
in
that's
my
just
house,
chilling
like
in my room.
but like the thing is, we hold this like view for like the more sentient animals, right? If a raccoon or something gets in your house, you can kill it. Like if you have animals like this in your house that are what we deem more sentient and they have the pain threshold that we would be a bit more iffy on, like a mouse or something, we can kill it.
I
I
met
think
some
that-
dumbass
I think
dogs,
that-
and I met some
Wait,
smart ass
no.
raccoons, dog.
You
I
don't
don't think
know. You don't know. Nobody knows how these animals experience pain. So the fucking pain argument is kind of dumb, right? Like, I think it's reasonable to say that they have less cognitive capability, less capability of understanding what's happening to them, but we don't know how much pain they feel.
Yeah. The pain factor doesn't matter. Like whether or not like the animal feels pain doesn't matter. Like
I mean, no, what? Of course it matters.
Well,
Why does
well
it
let me be.
You
Let me.
just said that it's irrelevant, right?
I should clarify what I mean. Of course, like it matters to some degree, but like for me at least, like the suffering is obviously a problem, but like the other side of that coin is like when you just when your first instinct is to just kill the animal, and obviously it's very contextual, right? Like, and again, I spoke a little too hastily
Well, it's
there.
because it's what you've been taught to do from an early age. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, see a spider, kill it. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like for instance, someone
Kill
mentioned
each
like if a raccoon got into your house. I think there's probably more of a justification to possibly use lethal force if a raccoon got into your place, primarily because, from what I can tell,
No.
raccoons tend to not be the most friendly animals, like when
No.
you're
Okay.
near.
Okay. All right.
Oh, what's up?
Okay. No, don't paint all raccoons with a broad brush. Like city raccoons are their own. Specifically, like city raccoons from my city are actually like really fucking smart, and they're smarter than your average dog. I swear to God, they know how
If you can get it out like non-lethally, yeah, go for it.
Well, that's the
No,
thing,
there's
it's
no reason to make it
calculation, isn't it?
lethally.
Can
They're
I
smart enough that you can just
tolerate
open a
it?
door and they'll walk out. You just be like,
okay.
please leave, and they will go. Like they're
I'm-
smart as fuck.
What if you don't say
I
please
trust you.
though? Are they smart enough to know when you're being a rude motherfucker?
What if they're smart enough to realize
Yes.
that the outside is cold and dangerous and your house has like a nice stock of food? And they just don't want to go out.
Yeah, what
They
if
just
he's
don't
like,
wanna leave.
you leave. Doors
No,
open.
no,
Go for it.
they won't let you like hit them more than once. If you hit them once, like they'll just run away, and they'll know the way out. They're fucking smart, dude. They're like ape smart. Seriously, like trust me. Like okay,
this conversation
So
is
your
really starting.
solution, if there's a raccoon in your house, you just open up a door and it just walks out, right?
What if it calls for reinforcement?
Yeah.
What if it does the little chitter and like eight more
they're
raccoons
not
run
that
in?
smart.
I'm sorry,
They're like as
raccoons.
smart as monkeys. I swear to
Raccoons
God,
eat
they
trash.
are.
Okay, I'm sorry. They are trash pandas. Like let's try not to give them so
Hey,
much
what's
credit,
wrong with
please.
trash pandas, dude?
No.
Okay,
But what I'm
just-
saying is like there's like an actual genus that is just, or not genus, like a species, subspecies, like that is actually super smart. Trust me, I've seen them. They can like turn doorknobs and stuff. Like bears can't do that. Dogs can't do that.
I saw a bear
They're
get
smart.
into a car.
Bears can turn
Dogs can do
doorknobs.
that.
Yeah.
I've seen dogs do that.
Dogs can turn doorknobs. Bears
saw-
can turn doorknobs. A lot of
So
animals
you
can
admit that
surprisingly.
raccoons are just smart as bears and dogs.
I saw a
You
cat
said they
shit
were
into a
my
toilet
trap.
and then fucking
You said
flush
they
it,
were as
alright?
smart as apes, bro. Like they're smart animals. If you're in my house, though, like, that's
This is an
you weren't
incredibly.
smart.
This is an intellectual conversation, Prime, and I actually resent you saying otherwise. And it's
really
really
not.
hurtful.
Like
It's really
90%
hurtful.
of it is just I don't know.
Can I ask why you have a moral obligation to not use lethal force?
Yeah.
Okay, I never said you have a moral obligation to not use lethal force. I said you have
so
a
it's
moral
totally okay to kill him.
I said you have a moral obligation to try and avoid causing suffering wherever possible, right? Wherever it's possible or feasible.
Isn't that the same
why?
thing? Isn't that the same thing? Just
Why?
like
Because it's the foundation of morality, friend. Like
Okay,
unless
not
you're
all
unless
suffering.
you're
That's
unless
largely
you're
human suffering.
I'm
No.
hashtag team human.
Okay, what's the difference between human suffering and animal suffering?
I mean, I guess like we go down
one's
the
a
social
human
contract
and
idea,
one's an
right? But
animal.
like,
Well, no, it's not. It's not social
No,
contract.
one
It's like,
says
why do
fuck
we-
and the
why
other
do
one
we
says
care
ooh.
about- Why do we care about human suffering? We care about human suffering because humans are fucking sentient beings that we can fucking relate to.
no, we care about
They're my species, bro.
yeah,
That's
we care
why
about
I
human
love
suffering
humans.
because I don't
Okay,
want to
but we re-
suffer and
okay,
I'm a
but we re-
human.
Okay, but we recognize that tribalism is a really fucking shit way to deal with morals, right? Transatlantic slave trade. Okay? Just because something is substantially different enough from you that you can think of it as another tribe, that's not a good reason to be able to fucking torture, enslave, murder, whatever. So, like, following that fucking logic that it's not okay to like enslave black people just because you're a white person and that's your fucking tribe.
Black
right?
people aren't a different species,
I'm
though.
sorry. Hold on. Can we
We're,
not?
we're talking
Can we
about different.
not?
We're talking about different species, right? So if the human species says like, yes, the elephants, we can do whatever we want to the elephants.
Why is the species delineation?
The species delineation is simply that like if it benefits us as a species, we're more likely to do it. Like, and then like you can argue that like within our own species, the tribalism is negative, and I would agree with that. I don't think that benefits our species.
Okay,
but when we're
outside of
talking
our
about
species, the
when we're
tribalism is
talking
very
about within our species and we're like comparing it to animals, like we can't really do that because we're all the same species.
I guess
I
my
mean,
question
people
to
would
that-
disagree with you, right? Because one, speciation as in general, right, is just another social construct that we decide where these fucking lines are, right? Some of these lines are, for example, that you know, that we could breed with these animals, right? That's the generally cited like way to delineate whether something's the same species if it can reproduce with each other, right?
And
Now,
every
but
race
this isn't
human
actually, but this
can mate
isn't
with each other.
okay. But one, this isn't even actually the case, right? When we talk about different species, quite often we're talking about species that can breed with each other. Two, right? I don't see why we couldn't end up breeding with monkeys. Like we're pretty genetically similar. It seems like it could be a thing. And
It's not-
three,
no.
right? Three,
Oh my God.
once again, why do we
Open your
care
mind, Captain. Shut up.
why should we care more about human suffering than we care about animal suffering? If the answer is because it benefits me, right? This is not a foundation. This is not a proper moral foundation. That's not a justification. That's just selfishness.
What about
Not
infestation
not
of
just
rats
me,
that carries
but
diseases that kills out
species,
half the
though.
population? Like, would that be amoral to kill off the rats that are killing half the population with the disease? I mean, I wouldn't
Can you
care if
repeat
they're
that one more
suffering or
time?
not. I don't want my family to die of whatever it is they're spreading.
I'm sorry. We're talking about operating. That's talking about operating out of self-preservation, right? We
I'm talking about
recognize that
morals.
we.
You know, the
Yeah.
morals of like killing something. Like, yeah, it sucks to see something suffer, but
Yeah.
at what point do I sacrifice myself or my family, the people
So-
I care about, for killing something?
So in morality, right, and this is recognized even in law, we recognize that there is a diminished responsibility depending on how much risk there is to you, right? Like that's why we have self-defense laws. You can't just walk up and shoot somebody in the fucking face, but if they're trying to murder you, okay, that's a different situation. You're coerced into making a decision, performing an action that would otherwise be immoral, right? But because of the situation you're placed in, is the only fucking choice you can make in order to preserve your own life. I think that's
Where's the
fine.
line drawn, though? Is it at the individual, or is there like a standard line that that once they cross it, then you can kill them?
Sorry?
Just saying, like if a spider comes into my house and it bites, somebody in my house, and they get, they get infected and like it's a brown recluse and like half of their leg falls off. I mean, I want to kill spiders now when they come into my house because of that experience. Is that a moral line that I've crossed where now the suffering of all spiders?
I mean, if it's a deadly fucking spider and it's in your house, yeah, you should probably kill it because the risk to life is pretty high, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, but do I need to expect all spiders that come into my house to determine whether they're deadly or not, or do I just kill all spiders?
It would depend on where you're at.
Yeah, it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to have a spider that can kill me come into my house here in the United Kingdom, right?
Yeah, if you're in Australia, like, you might as well do it. Or if you're in like Papua New Guinea, yeah, fucking kill them all.
In Australia, everything is out to kill you.
You're asking very specifically about like very specific situations, right? Whereas like prior to this, I was trying to provide us with the framework that you could make that decision and determination for yourself. Right?
See, I think I hate those frameworks, those moral frameworks that make it so that I have to actually apply this thing to every situation.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
And no, that's bullshit because it's actually the easy way out. It's the easy way out because it just makes it so that you don't have to even think about the situation. You don't have to even. All you have to do is apply your fucking like zero logic fucking program to the situation, and boom, it spits out an answer.
You're literally talking about reacting instinctually. You fucking troll. Okay.
No, you're saying moral
no. I'm talking about.
That's so arbitrary.
I'm talking about consequences. Okay, I'm talking about looking at it's an individual situation, looking at the consequences, and not saying like because I used to be like a libertarian. So I did the same fucking thing. I'd apply these goddamn Yeah, exactly. Boo. It's the same fucking thing that she's doing right now, and but nobody's booing her.
Everybody
I was thinking about it.
Boo,
Vivian.
Everybody lives by a moral framework. Everybody makes moral calculations, okay? Even if you haven't thought about it to any great degree, every time you take any kind of action that has some kind of consequence, right, for another person, you're making a decision that is a moral decision, okay? Now, all I'm saying is that you ought to have a framework by which to make those decisions rather than just acting on instinct all the time to make sure that you make the correct decisions, that you make good decisions. And I don't think there's anything fucking wrong with that. And
I can give an example.
I don't think you necessarily have.
And I was
to
saying that the
act
framework
on-
that I work from, and I think that most people would generally agree to, is a framework by which we try to minimize suffering and maximize well-being. Basic fucking, the whole sphere of utilitarian ethics.
I think that while people do agree to that, your definition of suffering is flawed, and that's why I can't agree with it.
What is my definition of suffering?
Because it seems like you're applying suffering to anything. As a result, it's super arbitrary.
Well, I would ask you what's your
that
definition.
Can suffer, yeah.
Okay,
it's not like chairs or whatever, right?
Viv, can you just give your definition of suffering so we don't have to play like 20 questions?
Sure. The one objective truth that we can find in philosophy is I think, therefore I am. Following from that, there are experiences, right? Thoughts, feelings, etc., that people have that are negative, and things that they have that are positive. They view them in that way, right? Suffering is a negative experience. Well-being is a positive experience, whatever it be.
I'm with you. I just hate the definition arguments. I think Destiny makes like $500,000 a year with this bullshit. Like, let's talk about definitions for fucking ever.
No, it's not 500,000 a year. We clearly saw
We have a
that.
different
we're
working with a different definition. Vivian is obviously talking about suffering on a broader context, whereas I don't think suffering of animals or plants matters when it comes to dealing
You're
with
saying it doesn't matter, but you do agree.
That's fine. We can argue on that. I just wanted to get her definition out there so you guys don't have to play guessing
that's
games.
fair.
So, like,
you agree. Wait, you agree that it is suffering, right? You just don't think it matters. And I would ask you why.
This was the Michael Vick dogfighting thing. Like, what was that? 12 years ago? 13 years ago?
God.
Didn't we do that?
That was a long time ago, dude. Like,
I'm old, guys. I'm old. I'm fucking old. Look at me. My brain is wrinkled. I'm old. But remember that where it became like a thing where it was like, oh, what's the he served so much jail time, and the question was, is this really a thing for like dog suffering? And then all the dog people came out. Do you guys not remember this? Anyone who was around for that?
I remember this. I was in middle school, but I remember this.
I was in middle school.
Yeah, and he kept.
Fuck, I'm fucking old. Fuck all of you. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah,
All
I
right.
remember. I remember.
This is my
the
drink
Michael
then.
Vick
All
thing.
right.
You are valid, my friend.
And he didn't care about it. Like he thought he was just like it's just like I did my time, and I went and played for the Eagles for like how many years? And he wasn't exactly that good even after he got out of jail.
I mean, when it comes to the Michael Vick thing, when it comes to the Michael Vick thing, and like what we've been talking about so far, I draw a huge difference because that was like for enjoyment, right? I have a problem with everything when it's like animals suffering for pure human enjoyment. SeaWorld, fucking bullfighting. I have problems with these
Well,
things. Like,
then
you
you
do
have
it for
the
enjoyment.
entire fucking meat industry of the Western world because we could very easily live without.
Yes,
without
I
eating
do.
meat.
Well, I mean, the Michael
No,
Vick thing
I
was
have a
for
wait. Time out.
profit.
I have a problem with the meat industry because they treat those animals horribly. If they found a way to treat those animals better, I would be all for it and still eat meat.
I mean, they would still cause edible suffering for your
Small
enjoyment.
farms are making a comeback in the country. They're coming back. There is a push towards small farms. A lot of restaurants in larger cities that can afford the overhead are now using farms locally that basically treat their livestock as pets until the deed is done. That is a growing movement in larger cities like Los Angeles and New York, with upstate New York working with them together. It's small, but it is moving towards that direction. There is foie gras. There is foie gras being served in this country where they don't actually force the geese to eat. They literally just like free roam them and just leave piles of food until they just keep eating, et cetera, et cetera.
Small farms are not going to work for cities like size of my city. Absolutely not.
I live in Los Angeles. Small farms are cropping up and being used in the best restaurants who do more business than your shitty little side restaurant in a strip mall in Los Angeles.
We're not talking just about restaurants.
I know what you're not talking about. I'm just saying it's just
you're saying it, but when we're talking, hold up, time out. When we're talking about feeding, oh, shut the fuck up.
I still haven't. Okay, I still haven't got a fucking answer to my question from Double Shine, right? Yeah. So like, obviously, so if I base my morality on suffering versus well-being, then it stands to reason that like the things that I consider worthy of moral consideration are those things which can experience well-being and suffering, right? Why is it?
Viv. No. Sorry, can I answer guys real quick? Because sorry, I wanted to clarify. I said that you were working with a bad definition of suffering. I was wrong about that. I think your definition of suffering is good. The problem is that when dealing with the moral framework, I don't think people actually deal with suffering. They think about human suffering. For example, I don't think people actually care about animal suffering or plant suffering when it comes to making a moral framework.
And I think that's wrong, and I'm asking you for the justification as to why it isn't wrong, why that's right, why it's okay to only care about human suffering and not the other kind of.
But would it be so, Viv? Would it be okay to kill these animals if we did it in a way that was like anti-suffering? What if we gave them all like heroin overdoses and they fucking went out in a blaze of glory?
It's not the killing that is suffering. It's the living that's suffering because they live in terrible conditions.
Wait.
JJ, what are you?
I'm just saying, is it
talking about?
so we're killing the animal with no suffering?
Fucking answer from Double Shine, please, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, so I would say two very simple examples of that are: one, we don't really care about plants at all when dealing with suffering, right? We'll just walk through grass. Second, when dealing with animals, I don't see anything in people's moral framework, and I don't think it should, that suggests that we do care about animal suffering. For example, we've been killing animals pretty much our entire history, which again, that's not to say that we shouldn't care. I'm just saying that I don't think people do. Otherwise, why would we?
I feel like there's nuance to
you're
this.
You're talking about what is, and I broadly agree with you. I think there are a lot of people who do care about animal suffering. That's why we have like animal cruelty laws and shit like that, right? But I would broadly agree with you. You're talking about what is. I'm talking about what ought to be, right? Like, I'm saying this ought not to be the case. And you're saying, actually, it ought to be the case because it is the case. And I don't think that that's a good argument. Saying something ought to be the case because it is the case is a shit argument, in fact, because then we would never change anything, right?
No,
we would never get rid of the aforementioned slavery because that just is the way the world is.
I disagree. I felt like you were using the argument that people do care about suffering in general, which is why we should value animals.
So I actually think that people
logical moral framework through which to operate, and I can't see a way in which we don't incorporate animal suffering into that moral framework. And I don't see a reason to value human suffering and not animal suffering. And I'm asking you for that reason, and I don't think you can provide it.
The reason is because animals can't reciprocate. So
double. So because it doesn't benefit us.
Yes,
basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so I should. So if I'm making a moral calculation, I should make it based on whether or not it benefits me.
I would say, yeah, that's
why the fuck do you?
Can I answer that
why do
question for
you force me to agree with Viv on this? Like, animals can definitely reciprocate some of our emotion towards them. Have you never pet a dog?
No, they can't.
I think he means the utility.
So
Sure
they can,
let me ask.
But his argument leads to things like, for example, if I know for 100% sure I can just get away with it, right? And I want to kill my next door neighbor because he pisses me off, okay? Then I should just be able to do that, right? That is a moral thing for me to do because it's not going to come back on me. It's not going to hurt me in any significant way, right? I should just be able to do that.
It's a sensible thing to do if that's your only choice to get food. But
no, the reason why that fails is because if we lived in a society where you could go and kill your neighbor, that means you must also accept a society where your neighbor can go and kill you. I choose not to live in that society. So
yeah, Mad Max.
Congratulations,
you
don't have the choice.
Yeah.
You are in that society.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so clearly we don't want that.
People watch the road and they go, "Oh, I'll be on the cannibal team. I fuck the father and son. I'm eating those motherfuckers." Yeah.
This person knows what's up. But my question,
baby.
So double. So like, I guess my question.
You're on the cannibal team. You're on the losing team.
I think Prime's gone fucking AFK, so I'm just gonna call out names.
No, I just love that every libertarian thinks that they're going to be on the winning side with whatever situation they have. They're like, I'm going to be on the one that fucking owns society, okay, bro? So libertarianism is the way to go, and it's
redolent, please. Prime, are you AFK?
I am in charge right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was a big enough
Please.
pregnant pause there to interject. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
No, I was just trying to determine whether anybody was fucking actually even moderating this.
Well,
I'll moderate. I'll stop talking. I will moderate. I'll take over.
No
more talking from me. Just moderation.
Redolent.
Captain Jones, Viv, and me are mods, so like we have 3 to pick from.
Yeah.
Everybody in the channel's a mod, and everybody picks 3 of their friends to be sub mods. Let's go.
Well, okay.
So I guess my question for double is like, because I'm trying to make sure that we're all like working on the same playing field. Because I'm personally, I'm not trying to make this into like a whole vegan thing. So like cause I'm going off like the original premises that we were talking about regarding like if an animal like got into your house, right? Maybe like an owl flew in. So like you say that, and I don't remember if you clarified this. You said like animals can't reciprocate. I don't know if you clarified that, but and like how we don't value animals compared to like humans and whatnot. I guess my question to you is like, because I'm trying to add a little bit of nuance or texture to something to that. Is like, what, like, is there a like an animal or whatever that if it got into your house, like your first instinct isn't to kill them, but to like try and get them out?
So whether yeah, you bring up a good point, right? So for example, if a raccoon came into my house, I think you have every right to kill it. I just wouldn't do it because I really like raccoons. I think they're cute. I don't think that those are like I don't think those conflict with one another. For the same reason why I might not want to kill it because I just don't want to clean up a dead animal. It might just be easier to do. However, oftentimes there are cases where killing an animal is probably easier than, you know, opening the door for it and praying that it walks out on its own accord. So yeah, I think that just because you may choose to do that, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is morally obligated to take that decision.
It's like, I think, because I'm trying to like, because I think what like, and Vivian, please correct me if I get your point wrong. Because like, I guess like I can come up with an example. So I have like a back patio back home, and our door has been broken been forever. It doesn't latch, and we just haven't gotten around to fixing it. And occasionally we'll get birds in our back patio, and it's a pain in the fucking ass to get them out, like, because like it's just a bunch of screen walls, and they don't realize it's a screen wall, so they're trying to fly out, and they don't realize that they can't get out that way. They have to go out the way they came in. They don't realize that, so we have to like scoop, like me and my mom and my dad will have to like sometimes like get like different brooms to try and get them out, right?
Get a bird net.
Huh?
Get a bird net.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Yeah, we've tried that before. And so I think like from Vivian's perspective is like, if you have to kill the animal, like then in certain contexts it's fine. But if you can like get rid of it without like exerting some type of physical violence against it, you should probably go down that route, right?
Without causing it suffering, right?
Huh?
Yeah. Without causing it suffering rather than physical violence.
Because I don't think Vivian would like at least Vivian, remind me, they or she?
Either's fine.
Okay. When they, I don't think they would like impugn you. For like if you like, for instance, like so I have a baby niece who's like 2 years old, and we actually found a black widow in her room. We actually found a couple of black widows in her room, and we killed it.
Kill that
right?
shit.
We killed it.
I am scared of hearing about black widows.
Yes. So
Trigger warning for Dan. Black Widow.
That movie was terrifying.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was
not the movie. I'm talking about the actual spider.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson. Oh no, not
I'm
Scarlett
not talking
Johansson.
about
Okay.
like women who are trained by like a Russian guy. It's called the Red Room. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like spiders.
Arguably, you should be more afraid of the assassins.
Thank you.
You kill it because the threat to life is very real and immediate, right? Like,
yeah, like I don't want my baby niece to like either like get really sick. She's only 2. So yeah, like I don't think that what Vivian's getting at here is like impugning you if you kill it. And like if you're in a context where like maybe a raccoon gets into your place and it seems pretty hostile, or it might show signs that it might have rabies or something like that. Like I don't think Vivian's moral framework would impugn you if you killed it.
Right, definitely.
What Viv is saying is you have to let the raccoon eat you alive. I think it's pretty clear.
Has to be foaming before you can take out the claw.
No.
It's like the cutest and most vicious end you could possibly have. He's so cute.
What the fuck?
They're so cute. They're so cute.
They are cute. They are.
Hey, Vivian, I got a question.
Yeah, and most of them have rabies in New England. If you're in New England, they all have rabies.
I got a question, Vivian, for you. For in your moral framework, when would suffering be acceptable? And I mean, it kind of sounds like everyone's making their own decision making and risk assessment on what's happening. And is there a standard format for morality, or is there like?
Contrary to what James said earlier, like applying moral frameworks is hard. It's complicated. There's a lot of factors you have to try and fucking consider, right? Like, and there's a lot of unknown stuff, like how capable is this animal of feeling suffering? Like we were talking about insects earlier. Like we don't know the fucking first thing about how an insect might experience pain. There's significant evidence to suggest
being chewed alive. Like, come on,
that like
being chewed alive, like, and you're really small. Like you're crushed immediately.
So like our
concept
concept of pain is different than what we think insects' concept of pain is. So like an insect, again, I'm just going to go back to the example. An insect might feel a flame and know that the flame is not good, so it flies away.
You're just making statements without anything to fucking back them up.
Okay, I literally just looked it up. Actually, Viv. So and from what I looked up,
like
you're fucking wrong
for them.
So
time for them could be like completely different.
You're fucking wrong.
There's significant evidence to suggest, for example,
that like well, I just read otherwise. So
that crabs, right, can feel pain, do experience trauma. And so,
I was talking about bugs, not crabs.
Oh, hey, Prime's back.
Bugs of the sea.
So I
nice goalpost move. Nice attempt.
It's not
but I was talking about bugs, not crabs.
Holy fucking shit! It's not
Holy fucking shit! I know it's tough
They're
to
just trying
argue with
out some
somebody who's gonna
goalpost
keep you in
techniques,
line.
you know.
Don't
If
try
you
to
guys stop
fucking pull a
arguing,
slick one on
you
me,
agree
Viv. Come
more
on.
than you disagree.
Don't try to pull a slick one.
It's not goalpost move to say that animals that are like kind of similar to these animals that we're talking about, there's significant evidence to suggest that they do feel pain.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. Crabs and bugs.
I think this is bait.
Crabs-
I
Crabs
wouldn't
and
take
insects
the
are the
bait.
same thing.
Crabs and spiders, yeah, they actually are like
They're really not. They're really not.
Very similar.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, no, they're not.
This is bait. Don't
Are
take
we?
this bait.
I mean,
Jesus,
it
not to
just
pull
seems
it to
like
like World
James
War
is
II
just
shit, but are we doing crab insects like Jews, they, them, cockroaches? Is that where we're going with this bullshit? Come on, guys. Let's bring it back to like normal shit.
I'm sorry, what the
Let's pull back
fuck?
from this ridiculous shit. It's a perfectly based
Okay,
and
bye bye.
right
Love
analogy.
y'all.
But it
Bye-bye.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All I was trying to do is like answer. I'm sorry, chap in the blue shirt. I can't remember your name, but his question, right? Which is and the answer to that is that like these things are complicated calculations, and people do come up with like different answers based on the information that they have available to them. What's important is like trying to apply that consistent framework at the very least, right? And then
Wouldn't that be kind of impossible?
We can maybe try and agree on some basic kind of conclusions as a society, right?
So it needs to be standardized is the level of how things suffer. So wouldn't you need to know how each animal suffers to understand like whether it's, you need to determine you can take action on this or you need to try it and
Well, I think, for example, as like more evidence comes to light about the way that cows, pigs, and so on have like complicated social lives, emotional lives, right? I think it becomes a lot less acceptable to treat them in some of the ways in which we do, right?
And
it's all about the knowledge that we have.
I sympathize with what you're getting at, Viv. Like for me though, I'm not sure like whether or not the bug feels pain or whatever, whether we're talking about bugs or animals or whatever, I'm not sure it's entirely relevant for at least for me at least.
Well, it's entirely relevant to the moral framework which I've set out. If you disagree with that moral framework, that's fine, but like you would then have to present another one which like makes as much sense.
Because what way I would look at it, so like for instance, like if my baby niece like couldn't, if I knew for a fact that my baby niece couldn't feel pain, like chop her arm off,
I would stab her in the belly.
Right, like if I knew for a fact that my 2-year-old niece couldn't feel pain, like I wouldn't I would never like inflict any type of violence on her.
What if a spider couldn't feel pain? Would you do that?
I'm just going to stop you there, right? This is why I don't use the terms pain and pleasure like a lot of amateur philosophers, right? What I said was suffering and well-being. Now, pain is a part of suffering, but it is not the only part of suffering, right? You can have emotional trauma. You can have things like your autonomy being infringed, right? I would say is a form of suffering, right?
Well, the reason why I'm specifying pain. Well, there's a reason. Well, the reason why I'm specifying pain, I mean, because then we would have to like talk about like other. Because right now we've been focusing mostly on if animals invaded your house.
Yeah, but so for animals, so I did talk about the emotional lives of animals, right? I did say that with cows and pigs and stuff. But generally, the reason we're talking about pain is because, like, if we want to apply some sort of concept of autonomy to animals, I don't think that most animals, right, or possibly nearly all animals, are even capable of conceiving of the concept of autonomy, and thus like the restriction of their autonomy is not necessarily something that harms them in a kind of like abstract sense, right? It just can't because they are unaware that their autonomy has been restricted.
I guess for me then, so like then maybe we need to move.
Yeah.
Well, then I think like for me to kind of better accumulate with your point then, because we're still stuck on the animal invading your house example, because like I mean like you have like I mean if there are other it's like if an owl got into your house, right, like you have like basically two options, right? Like you could either kill it or you can try and like make it fly out the window.
Who's killing an owl? Come on.
Well, I just picked the first animal that came into my head.
Cool.
All right, Owl Hunter. Let's hear it.
I am not that impressive, but like I guess like so then for you, Viv, so like I guess maybe we should move on to another example, that isn't as binary regarding like either outright violence and pain or just like non-violence. So like I guess that's where I'm getting hung up, I guess.
I mean, literally all I'm saying is that for like animals with like lesser cognitive ability, like the form of suffering that is most relevant to our discussion is pain, right? Because they don't tend to experience suffering from having their autonomy restricted.
So I guess we can't eat bugs then. Bugs aren't going to solve the fucking problem. It doesn't matter how good and delicious cockroaches are.
We're too large. You have to like worry about stepping on ants when you go to your car in the driveway. This is why we can just skip this. Like you just dull yourself to the fact that we're killing thousands of bugs every day through our windshields and our steppings and all that stuff. Just move past it, guys.
Yeah, and that's why I said
killing bugs.
That's why I said where it's reasonable and feasible, right? I've also said that several fucking times. Like the idea that we can just go about our lives like consistently looking at the floor, trying not to step on absolutely anything, like that. Just it's such a huge burden on us. So it would significantly diminish the quality of life of everybody in the fucking world if we were to try and
we need hover chairs, baby.
I mean, guys, if there were 100 trillion Uyghurs, we could all, get behind. No, I'm just kidding.
That was kind of the notion of my question to you, Vivian.
What is wrong with you, man?
My question.
Population and analogy and sarcasm and satire. Like, figure it out, you fucking child.
Well, my question to you, Vivian, was like trying to figure out where's the simplicity in this, because it almost sounds like this moral framework is going to take up most of your decision-making skills in your life when it comes to anything that happens with suffering and animals and intrusions and all of that. And with all the complexities that we have to deal with in their life, like, am I going to spend the time? I mean, real talk. My wife 2 weeks ago got bit by a brown-leaf recluse, and we had to go to the hospital, and I thought her foot was going to fall off. So anytime a spider comes in my house, I'm going to kill those things because fuck them. I don't want that to happen to anybody in my house again.
If you can't identify whether or not it's a brown recluse, like, yeah, you should probably fucking kill it.
Yeah, I don't even want time to assess that risk. I'm just going to kill it if it has 8 legs.
Yeah, I had an incident.
All I'm saying is, right, that this is the moral framework by which I live, right? And you can give it thought over the course of your life, and you can generally sort of develop heuristics so that you can make those decisions when they crop up, right? And that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't know, I've been wrestling with the idea of going vegetarian or going vegan or something for like probably the last 5 or 6 years. I still haven't done it. I still eat meat, right? I think that's probably immoral, honestly, given like where a lot of our meat comes from. But like, if you're on a panel and you're fucking arguing about whether or not it's moral to do something, then that's the perfect time to actually think about it and actually apply it. It's perfectly okay to say, hey, I do some immoral things in my life because it's incredibly inconvenient for me to not do those immoral things, right? But
and we're exploring these ideas to hopefully have applicability in our life, right?
I don't like that.
Wouldn't that be...
Sorry?
Yeah, I don't like that. I like that we need to be able to justify these things so that we can be able to do them. That's the whole point. Like if I just felt like I was being immoral by eating meat, like I would fucking feel horrible. Seriously though, if I actually gave a fuck about the animals, I would feel bad.
It's not a yes or no thing. It's a sliding scale thing, guys. It's nuance. It's not ones and zeros, yes and no's. There's nuance to all this shit. So you can't just like all of this is good or all of this is bad. Come on.
Captain, I understand where you're coming from, Captain Jones, but like, unfortunately, this is a point where I have to agree with the British person here. Like, there are levels to this.
You don't have to.
I kind of do. Like, what I think about it, like, I will 100% agree with Vivian. There are, moral calculations that I must consider when I go about things like eating meat. But when I also look at myself, I also realize I value human life more than I do animals. If there's a situation where I have to choose between an animal life and a human life, more than likely, I will choose the human life. So I recognize that about myself, and that's one of those things.
Pyro Tyrant, I love you. Pyro Tyrant, I love you. Hold on, your 10-year-old dog versus a stranger in a flood. Who do you save?
That's why I said
versus
not
a
all the
stranger
time, right?
in a flood.
And they're wearing like a MAGA hat, and they're just like, I suck. I can't swim. Come on. I'm just kidding. You go for the dog. That's the correct answer.
I mean, you know, if they're wearing a MAGA hat, it doesn't matter if you've known them 20 years. You just let them go.
Exactly.
God,
yes.
Well, no, listen.
Thank
That's
you.
that's a complicated question. Okay, it depends. How many people are like behind me watching me choose my dog?
Wait, so you're saying that it depends on whether or not people are there to justify whether it's moral?
Yeah, right? Because if I save my dog, if I save my dog, I have the benefit of like, yo, I give my best friend. I let a man drop. Like, I give my best friend. But like, if people watch me. If people fucking watch me,
you have to think of your story of like how special your dog is, why you chose the dog when the camera saw you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna be getting, I'm gonna be getting hate for the rest of my life. Just like, yo, you saved a dog over a man. What the fuck? Like, I don't want to hear you. I'm not gonna deal with that.
So is it immoral to eat meat? Is it immoral to eat meat? Yes or no?
I mean, probably under most circumstances. I think there's some circumstances where it's okay. Like we have to cull deer, for example, so you might as well use the meat. But like, this is what Pyro is talking about. Is like another fucking problem where, you know, we have our own values and our own sort of like the things that we find more important to ourselves, right? Like objectively from the outside, if you have you know, a family member in a fire and a complete stranger in a fire, you can only save one of them. You yourself, you're pretty much always going to choose the family member, right? Like, this isn't like some kind of objectively moral decision. It's just based on your own sort of like your own personal preferences, and that's okay. But we have to recognize that like that decision there is kind of like relatively morally neutral. Like it's not good that you chose your family member instead of the stranger, right? And honestly, I would say it would probably be weirdly virtuous if you chose the stranger over your family member for some reason. I don't know, but like overall, it's probably morally neutral. But we can recognize that we sometimes make immoral decisions which, like from the outside, like if we just view humanity as a whole, we would prefer people not to make those decisions. But because we have our own personal values, wants, needs, etc., like we make decisions that are kind of immoral. Like I really fucking enjoy eating meat, and so while I recognize that it's probably immoral for me to continue eating factory farmed meat, I'm going to keep doing it anyway because I enjoy it, right? And that's a decision that I've taken in my life to be a less moral being in that situation.
Cosmic has had their hand up for a little bit.
Weeb, go for it.
Okay. So since the topic is on like bugs and stuff, so I just want to say biologically, bugs don't have enough nerves to feel pain receptors. They have something called nociceptors that allows them to know where they are or whatever, or react to whatever stimuli is happening to them. So, for example, okay, dude, you can meme some other time. So,
no,
like,
it's not about
you
memeing. It's
swat-
about like we literally only figured out the human
Red,
brain, like the level you're talking about in like the last 20
Holy
years.
shit,
I love
Red,
memes. I love memes. I love them.
Red, let me talk.
Anyway,
all right, it's shit. I'll go get a drink.
So
This
when
is
you
bullshit.
swat a fly, and the flies nociceptors, I would like to call them instincts. They kick in, so that's how they know to dodge or get away from whatever stimuli. They don't actually feel pain. For me, that's where I draw that line.
Again, you can't fucking say that. We have no idea whether
Yes,
these
I can,
creatures.
That's at least what the evidence that we know.
That's the science.
That's the science that we have right now.
I've taken past
that is the
biology.
science that we have.
So yes, it does.
Okay, we have no idea whether these creatures are conscious, and we have no idea how they experience.
I didn't say consciousness. I clearly said pain receptors.
That's that goalpost moving again, though.
Yeah,
there you go,
like
Viv. Nice try.
Pain receptors.
We have
You're
no
getting called
idea
out on it, though.
how those creatures, if indeed they have any kind of consciousness,
Pain
experience those
receptors, Viv, not consciousness.
Pain receptors stay on target.
Pain receptors. We're not talking about.
Shut the fuck up.
No, because we're not talking about consciousness. We're talking about pain receptors, but you keep trying to move it to make your argument sound better. Now, pain receptors is a very good line to draw at. If they cannot feel pain as we do it, pain receptors would be a good line to draw at. Not consciousness. Weeb said pain receptors. So please focus on the pain receptors.
I am why would I focus on that? Because if you have pain
That's
receptors,
because your definition of suffering said it was focusing on the pain, right?
Yep.
No, it
Which is
didn't.
subjective.
Also, no, it didn't say that. But also,
Okay, then I could be wrong. I'm sorry.
like, if all you have is pain receptors and you have no conscious mind, then you're probably not experiencing suffering, right? Because if you're not experiencing anything, then you're not experiencing pain. Those pain receptors are going fucking nowhere. Okay. So
That's sort of not true because
well, no, it is
flies
true.
are alive. They don't really feel pain as humans do, but they can still have a consciousness. They still fly.
Okay. What is
Right?
consciousness?
Oh, we're going down this.
I'm not going down
philosophical
that
road.
road.
Can't.
See, this is where
That's
it
why.
goes.
That's why we wanted to stay on pain.
That's
The
why I said
goalposts
that's
have
why I
been moved.
Then how do they
specifically
feel
said pain
suffering?
receptors.
This is part of the reason why
It's the ability.
like,
It is the ability to experience, right?
No, but how do they experience suffering if they don't have pain receptors?
this is part of the reason why the pain receptors I feel like is a red herring.
It really is.
Right, that's what.
But like that's like
But that's
we
why
came in
I
and
thought
no,
suffering
we-
was the red herring.
like we came in and like said in line that he would give, right? Like pain receptors. Like since it's really iffy because of their lack of our type of pain receptors and like their very special way of viewing things, that he would draw that line and say, yes, it's okay to step on an insect because they don't feel it the same way we do. Like they're not made up. And like we may find science that proves they feel it tenfold in us and it might change them, but like that's the line he drew. So like now we got like, are the pain receptors valid? And if it draws into consciousness, why does it draw into
I know
consciousness?
you're really
It's about,
grabbing
like,
to this part, right? I know.
Just to
it's
be
really-
clear, that I would never actually step on him, and I do what you do, Viv. I if there's a spider on me, I just let him go because he's pretty much my neighbor and my roommate at that point. He pays me money to stay there, so.
To make it clear, I kill every single bug that comes into my house. No exceptions.
That's great.
Good.
James.
Spray
You're
'em
doing a
down.
really good job. Like fucking hell, dude. Did you just like smoke a bunch of crack before you came on this panel and like?
I am
fucking
smoking
browse
some
for half
I
an
am
hour
smoking
and be
some
like,
Gorilla
"Oh,
Glue.
dudes."
Yeah, oh my god.
This is some Gorilla Glue. It's really good. Like
There's some
love
shit.
it.
There's some shit called green crack. It's actually crack. Like it's fucking amazing. It's so good. It's weed. It's weed, y'all. If you
It's
didn't know what I was
weed.
talking about, Jesus Christ.
I
just
yeah, I was
named
about
green
to,
crack.
okay.
I thought you.
I was just gonna let that fly, and I didn't really care.
No, I meant like,
So
look,
we
I've
have-
never
we
smoked
have
crack.
no-
I just assumed that it's like as good as crack because it was just so tasty. Anyway,
Okay, so
I believe
so
you.
we have no idea whether or not this is a positive or negative experience for the insect, right? We don't know whether the insect experiences it at all, right?
maybe
It
the
could just
insect
be-
lives in pain its entire fucking insect adult life, and we fucking take it out of its
James,
miserable
why-
fucking
why are we-
existence by
Hey.
killing it.
Sorry,
You don't fucking
right, yeah,
know.
why are we even talking
You
about this?
That's a
don't
way to
know.
look at it. That's a way to look at it.
But Viv doesn't know because we
Why are we
don't
talking
know.
about
So
insects?
she doesn't know that my bullshit is not true. I don't know her bullshit's not true, right? We're both making up
Does
bullshit.
a pig, hey,
Okay,
does
and
a
so-
pig or a
and so
cow
what
feel it
do
if
you
you
do?
stab it?
What do
I'm
you
not talking
do?
about a pig or a cow. I'm talking about
Why
a
are we
fucking
talking
insect.
about bugs when you don't care about pigs?
We've been talking about bugs for like.
We've been talking about the
Yeah, but
title
it's
is eating
irrelevant.
roaches.
The topic is about
delicious.
bugs, so that's
Yeah, but
why
it's
I'm
irrelevant.
For fuck's sake, look, this is a really fucking stupid point. Yes, we can't be sure about lots of things. Jones is fucking sitting there giggling because all he's trying to do is disrupt the conversation, being a cunt, right?
No, I'm trying to
But
point out why your conversation sucks.
We're literally all asking you the same thing, but
Yeah.
you're picking like
Doesn't
the two
matter.
guys that are high, like
It's very
1776.
It's 1984, bro.
It's not just me,
Both
Viv.
world
I know.
wars.
I know it sucks that it's not just me.
No, right? Okay.
I know.
You're the one
Right?
fucking interrupting me every time I fucking open my mouth, Jones. All right? Shut
I
the fuck
do
up.
the same thing you do, Viv. Please, come on. Let's stop acting like you don't do the same
Come on,
exact
guys.
thing.
Let's be charitable.
Yeah,
okay?
come on, Viv.
Oh my god, shut up,
Right.
just go.
Okay.
Viv, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. There are lots of things that we aren't fucking sure about, okay? We can't be 100% sure. What I said earlier, right? The only fucking objective philosophical truth is like, I think, therefore I am, right? I experience, therefore there must be a thing that experiences these things, right? But what we do is we make our moral frameworks, we make our decisions based on what is most likely. So, for example, right, it seems that most living creatures right, when they suffer some kind of damage, feel some kind of negative experience. That seems to be the case. Most things indicate it, right? So the idea that an insect would be living its entire life in complete and unutterable agony, right? That seems a lot less likely than if we fucking murder it, then it experiences some kind of negative sensation through that action, right?
But that's
So
only
we-
based
so
on
we
our
try and-
biology. There's nothing that suggests that that's more likely.
Would you
That's
guys
just
stab
because
a
we
pig?
feel that?
So like that's so I guess my question, Viv, is like, let's say like you like you're because you're saying like whatever bug, whether it's an ant, spider, whatever. And you're saying like because I'm trying. Sorry, it's also like 3:08, almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I probably should go to bed soon.
Mhm.
But when you're talking about suffering, I know you defined it earlier. Because like the reason why I don't like the pain receptor one is because for me, inflicting the pain itself, for me isn't the point. It's the idea that the instinct of you wanting to inflict pain, not the pain itself, the reaction of using like pain to like stomp out like that invader, whether it's like a bug or whatever. That to me, I feel like is the more important bit, and I feel like we're all getting too distracted with whether or not the insect or the bug feels pain. And for me, I don't know if that's entirely necessary for this whole conversation.
Well, it isn't. Like I said, it's just like what is more likely? What is the path that you can take that is less likely to cause suffering? I'd say it's less likely to cause suffering if you pick up a bug in a fucking glass and put it outside than if you stomp on it. That just seems fucking logical to
I
me.
want to
But,
let
like
in.
Captain James seems to think that that's a.
I want
That's a
to let
problem.
in someone. Zintax, who just showed up.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Why are we even talking about bugs? Like, I know there's an issue with the
Because that's the topic.
The literal
but-
name
but-
of the
but
panel
are-
is
do we
"Eating
agree?
cockroaches is delicious, bro." Like, I don't know
Do
what
we-
you expect.
Yeah, but do we agree that pigs and cows and kittens and puppies can feel it if you stab them with a knife?
We've already had this.
No one's arguing that.
But like the title
okay,
is
so
"Eating
why-
I don't think
roaches is
nobody was
delicious."
arguing that, bro. I had like
We're
Okay,
focused
I'm
on
sorry.
bugs.
I was more in the chat, like arguing with some dumb fuck.
Chat's
Yeah,
dumb.
so I wasn't that much
Chat
into
gets
the
off
actual-
focus. Like
Wait,
we're
this guy
talking
is
about
from
insects
chat.
and
Hold
shit.
on, don't let this guy
It's
get one over
probably
on you.
me.
He's literally just coming from chat.
What, me?
Listen, I
Yeah.
didn't say chat's dumb like the other person. I just
We
said
all
chat gets
started
off
off.
topic.
We
I
all
was
started
raised in
off in
chat. I
chat.
was
We are
raised.
literally all a part
you
of
calling
chat.
Yes,
out
I didn't
I don't
start
want to hear
from-
none
I
of this
didn't
shit.
start
Say,
from
you know
chat.
what?
Okay, guys,
Listen,
let him go, let him go.
But when I
Let him
was
go.
in chat, I was off topic too. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. We go off to
I
explore
just
the
want to say I
ideas.
did not start in chat.
Wait, Syntax, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I did
I'm
not start in
curious.
chat either.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So check it
Yeah.
out. You said if a pig or a
I'm a
cow
pro streamer,
feels
fuck
pain,
you.
right?
Mhm.
We agree to that, right?
Yep.
And you're saying that because it feels pain, we probably shouldn't be killing them,
Killing
right?
it and fucking
Okay.
torturing them, basically.
So
yeah.
if bugs don't feel pain, then why should we care?
Yeah, okay, I don't give a fuck about bugs then. If they
Okay,
don't feel pain,
great,
yeah, that's
awesome,
fine.
one for
That's
us.
fine. I'll bite that bullet. But why do
I-
we eat pigs? That's a more like that's the actual productive conversation.
I feel
Why do we kill
like
pigs?
this
Ask
is
Viv. She was the one
Just
talking
that-
about making
just that-
some really good tonkatsu.
this feels like we're going on so
Like
many
Nice
red
says pig
herrings.
feet.
The actual conversation is
trotters,
about
sorry.
if
Pig
I
trotters.
have 2 dogs, okay? Why can't I choke and kill my dog?
'Cause
Why
that's
is that
fucking
bad?
horrible. Holy shit.
Why? We're doing it to pigs and cows, and they are
Because-
basically the same thing.
A dog is a human's best friend.
So you're just like loading shit.
It's
That
not
literally
even-
means
but
nothing.
but hold
No,
on.
Okay, then a
Captain
cat.
Jones.
Then a
Wait,
cat.
Cat
Then a
Jones.
cat.
Please don't make
At
this
least call-
argument.
Then a cat.
That is
No,
like when you
okay,
say
hold on,
dog
hold
is
on.
only man's
He's
best
just-
friend.
he's just
That is
trolling
only
fun.
No,
only
because-
for us.
Oh, shut up.
Hey
Ben.
man.
So if it's okay because we grew up
So
with
boring.
cats and dogs culturally as our
Okay,
pets.
so then a pig, whatever. Do you personally, would you stab a pig or slice
Hell
it
no.
Okay, just 'cause
alive?
we
I
prefer
Why?
we wouldn't do it. That doesn't mean
Jesus
it makes
Christ.
it
But you're
immoral.
buying, but
I
you're
would if I
paying.
wanted to
Listen,
eat it, and I still
you're
think it's
paying
wrong.
someone else to do it. You're just
Okay.
paying
Yeah.
someone else to do it.
Well,
am
yeah,
I
they're
paying?
gonna.
That's the same
well,
thing.
Wait. Am I
No,
paying
it's not.
somebody, or am I paying the supermarket that paid the guy to do it?
Yeah, that's you. You are like you're saying slave
So
labor.
I'm responsible
Slave
for the
labor.
fucking
Listen.
supermarket slaughtering that cow.
See?
Yeah,
Jeez.
slave labor. Okay, slave labor. You're not doing anything to the slaves. Someone
Okay,
else is doing
but
it.
you
And
know
you're just
what?
buying
I
the
don't.
product.
I don't compare humans to
You're
animals.
funding it.
Like
You're funding.
I'm not doing
Not
that.
anymore.
Alright,
I'm not
wait.
vegan anymore.
Hold on.
Like I do not compare the value of humans.
I was
with
vegan,
that
yeah.
We
value.
gotta we gotta
Sorry.
chill because this feels like we're going on so many red herrings, and we're also returning to conversations we had like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, okay, but like the bug
Do you
conversation
think
gets
we've like?
nowhere.
Do you think we've like
Like-
hollowed out this subject as
I
much as we
absolutely. I
possibly
think we
can?
called out the subject 40 minutes ago.
Okay. Do you have any actual vegans on here?
I have no strong opinion.
I used to
Is
be.
there
a vegan.
nobody here who's actually vegan except for Viv, who's like I don't know, Viv, you weren't vegan, but you're
vegan.
defending it. Yeah, but you're defending it. Yeah.
I mean, we're all
I'm-
cool, right? We're all cool. There's no.
I'm
vegan.
cool
I
with
think
vegans.
it's probably more.
on.
I think it's probably
No,
more
we're all
moral.
I agree with
I think
vegan
it's probably
ethics,
more-
but I'm not a vegan.
Yeah,
think
I
it's
was
probably
more
vegan
moral to be vegan,
practically,
but,
not for any moral or ethical reason.
Okay.
So I know
like
it's
the
possible
moral
to get
argument
like
to
all your
me is
proteins and blah blah blah, but it's not as tasty.
Raise
No
your
chicken
hand if you
nuggets.
dated a vegan
True,
and
it's
you were
not as
vegan while
tasty.
you dated the vegan. Raise your
But
hand.
no,
Okay.
no.
Shut up.
No.
All right.
I
So
think
does
you can
anyone
kind
is
of train your palate though. Like I did the whole keto thing for a while, and at the start, like I fucking super missed like potatoes and bread and shit. And like a couple of months into it, I was just like, when I first started eating carbs again, like in any kind of decent amount, I was just. I didn't like it. It was nasty. It was like starchy and bland and bleh. Yeah. I think you can train your palate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay.
you can.
So I feel like we've ran this topic into multiple ditches. Does anyone have any other topics they're
I
interested
think
in?
we can dig deep. Hold on, I'll give you guys all shovels.
Oh,
We'll go
no.
We'll go deeper. We're gonna go
Oh,
deeper.
no.
Well,
Oh,
Let's do it.
no.
I'd like to say one thing afterwards
Keto
as
is
well.
terrible
One thing.
for your liver.
Uh,
But go on.
Okay, so have you guys heard Destiny's take on veganism? Why he is vegan?
Which one? Which
Destiny.
one?
He says that he's okay
did
with
he look up
killing
Google for
animals.
you?
He's okay with fucking animals. He's okay with torturing animals because he doesn't care. That's the only, literally. That's the
Well,
only.
congratulations.
Like an extra 100,000 subs on the controversy.
Okay,
of
that's
fucking
just
animals. Like,
that-
he doesn't
that's
give a shit
what
about
we-
what he says.
Nobody
I
likes
don't
that take.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing.
Hey, but
hold on,
listen,
hold on,
please.
hold on.
That's
There's
Wait,
nothing.
Prime wants to speak.
Yeah, there's yeah. So what? Yeah, he wants to. He doesn't care about animals. He's gonna kill them.
Destiny's
If they're gonna
take
eat
on
them,
that.
oh my god! If they're gonna eat
sorry.
them, then you might as well do anything else to them, right? Like if you're going to kill them, then he's saying that
Okay,
okay,
yeah.
then we can do it anything else as well. Is
Yeah.
that?
So do you guys agree? Would
Yeah,
you
I
fuck
agree.
animals? Like not personally.
Oh, not
Are you
the
okay
fucking
with
animals.
fucking
I'm
animals?
not going to put my dick in an animal, but
Yeah,
like
that's
No, of course, not personally.
That's literally not
Yeah,
my argument.
other
no,
than
I don't.
other than having
totally
sex.
your argument.
Oh my!
That's
Are we still talking over me? Okay, great, thanks. Other than the having sex with animals, it's fine. It's whatever, right? Like just if you're gonna kill them, then he's
No,
saying
but not
logically.
if you're
then-
gonna kill them.
Yes,
I'm saying like. No, I'm saying like, is it okay to just get an animal and torture it because you want to? Like, why won't you do that?
Fuck it first before
because
torturing it.
I'm
And
gonna-
somewhere in there, you know.
But that's Destiny's take. That's the only like
but why do you
consistent
care
take.
about Destiny's
Is Destiny here? Is Destiny watching? Like
all
I think
other
we've all
arguments,
made
I'm
like points
presenting
that
his
are
arguments.
Destiny,
Why,
God
wait,
damn
wait,
it,
time out,
God
time
damn
out.
it.
Wait. Why
Go
are you
read some
presenting?
Karl Popper and get back
No,
to
shut
us.
up. Howard.
Yeah, I can answer you. I can answer you.
Why
Because
are you time out? Why are you bringing up Destiny's argument when you've had like 10 other arguments to go off of? We don't need
because
Destiny's
Destiny's
argument.
take. Yeah, listen, Destiny's
We don't
take
need
is the
Destiny's take though.
Destiny's not here to defend himself.
He thinks it's the only.
It's okay.
No, he's not. He's not attacking because he's saying it's the only consistent argument. I get
Destiny
it.
is yeah.
Yeah.
Destiny's take is the
not.
only
Okay.
take that actually makes sense if you want to eat meat. All
okay.
the other arguments are dog shit.
Okay.
That take is wrong. That take is wrong because right, like, so we don't get direct pleasure out of the animal's suffering when we're eating an animal, right? we're getting pleasure out of eating the fucking meat and shit, right? If you say that it's perfectly okay to torture an animal for your pleasure, right? Like, I agree that there's no like moral distinction there. However, I think there's something really fucked up with getting pleasure out of other things suffering. Okay,
Yep.
that as a rule shouldn't be something that we get pleasure out of.
Yeah, I agree. But
Okay,
like,
cool. So that takes dog shit, so we can move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, that takes dog shit, but it's consistent, and all the other arguments aren't
No, it's
consistent.
not. No, it's not for the
It's
reasons.
not.
He doesn't care about animals, so he can do whatever he wants.
Who cares?
But Destiny's not here, dude. We're not
who
talking
cares
about
what-
Destiny. There's 1, 2,
Okay, yeah, we
3,
can
4,
drop that.
5,
We can
6,
drop
7,
that.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12 other people. Shut up, Redolin.
Okay, I can explain. I can explain
No,
without saying
there's
that.
no explanation on why you want to bring up Destiny's
like,
point when he's not here to
I don't-
argue with
because
it.
it's
We
the
don't
only
care.
actual point you can argue.
I'm
That's
sorry.
why.
Shut up. No one gives a shit about Destiny's take here. No, like no one. No one.
Okay.
Don't bring it up
Okay.
again. I don't care.
Okay.
That's what I was like, why are we talking about Destiny? I don't care. Can we please move on to another topic?
Well, it's because if you say his name
okay,
3
so can I
times,
ask
you
a
might be able to get him onto the panel, and that's
It's like Beetlejuice. You got to say it in the mirror 3 times under
Someone-
like the full moon.
Fuck, y'all beat me to
Oh, Pyro, don't spell out the joke. I know you're young. I know you're
okay,
young. Just don't
alright,
spell the joke out.
great.
We were all Beetlejuice in our heads, and you said it, and you ruined it.
Okay, great. Thanks.